So they eject you all over, and you think you have to sign a few forms.
Of course.
And you get carried in there, and it's like, goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah,
I thought, see you later.
Yeah. Just it's a massive operation.
Wife's in tears, and it's horrible.
But you knew though, didn't you, Al? Before that, you knew. You know, when you were on air here and you felt dizzy and you had to come off, you knew something was.
Well, that was the stage where I had to get it done, or it was see you later.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise it was that extreme, but it was. They told me, said another couple of weeks you were gone.
With the headlines at 4:02, I'm Tom Clayton. Good afternoon. UEFA says its threat to boycott FIFA competitions remains despite Gianni Infantino's apology yesterday. The body says the assurances demanded have not been met and their current loss of confidence remains. The Times' Martin Ziegler has told the Game podcast the FIFA president hasn't come out of this well.
This is a very, very bitter and public defeat for him and has caused immense ructions within FIFA and the football community across the world in a way nothing else has.
Meanwhile, the head of the Jordanian FA says they've finally received their Arab Cup prize money. He'd previously accused FIFA of withholding the money until they'd issued support for Infantino, but now the cash has been paid. Ali Al Hussein has said his country would not back the FIFA president. Elsewhere today, Bournemouth have signed Spanish right-back Juan Lu on a 5-year contract. It's an €11 million fee with 2 in add-ons. Also, Millwall are signing Scotland striker Lyndon Dykes to a 1-year contract. And there's an El Clasico arms race for Rodri. As we understand, Barcelona have entered the fray with Real Madrid. This as Real Madrid have confirmed the signing of Yan Diomande. And Sam Curran was an injury away from returning to the England Test squad. So says the selector Marcus North. The first squad of the second Joe Root era was announced this morning, with Jordan Cox becoming in to bat at 3. Dan Lawrence has also received a call-up to fill in at 6. And North explained the thought process.
We haven't got an all-rounder in terms of a pace bowling all-rounder that can bat at 6 or 7. We've gone with Lawrence, we feel gives us the strongest batting lineup.
There's more at talkSPORT.com.
talkSPORT News.
A female police officer has been seriously bitten during an anti-migrant disorder in Norfolk, and there's been rail disruption across much of England. Amelia's back at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With over 400 EV-ready centres across the UK, we're top of the league for electric car owners. Visit quickfit.com and book today.
Early showers fading through the afternoon, with some persisting in the northwest. Feeling cooler than recently, but pleasant weather sunshine.
Good afternoon, you are listening to Drive on talkSPORT with me, Max Scott, alongside Andy Townsend. Coming up today, we're going to hear what Roberto De Zerbi has been saying about his managerial style and asking the question about whether finally Spurs have got their act together, Spurs have got their mojo back. As well, there's been a lot of negativity around Newcastle in recent weeks, and I can understand that, but we also want to discuss whether we've just got this all wrong and whether they've actually had a pretty solid transfer window. They've made a lot of money in the last couple of years. Is there a positive spin on what we've seen happening at Newcastle? As well, Blackburn boss Tony Mowbray told Drive that he's looking forward to the playoffs, going all the way down to 8th place this season. Now that us settled on all of that, and as we look forward to a brand new EFL season, are we on board with it? Is it a good thing for the EFL? As well, we're going to be joined by Chairman of Matchroom Sports, Eddie Hearn. Looking forward to that as always. All that, plus we'll be discussing a new lease of life for Phil Foden. And it's Thursday, which means you can WhatsApp Andy, get your voice notes in for the legend that is Andy Townsend right now. This is Drive on talkSPORT. Get involved, 03717 223344.
Pot
hole is one of life's big problems in this day and age, isn't it? How are you, Max? You good?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well. What's the latest for you?
Well, have I got news for you, by the way? Right.
Go on,
so on the train on the way down today, reading the paper and flicking on my phone and a bit of Instagram here and there, all of a sudden I continue to see this same craze out there, which apparently is starting to gain a bit of momentum.
Trending on socials.
Trending, right? And I'm not much of a trender on socials and all that, but apparently this is. So it's a croissant.
Right.
Okay. You nip the top of it off and then sort of open it out, create that kind of hollow hole in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And in there goes a Magnum ice lolly. Pull the stick out somehow. You have to obviously get the Magnum in there head first, get it in there, and then hold the end of the croissant, pull the stick out. And apparently that is the latest food combo that shouldn't work in any way, shape or form. But it is.
That sounds absolutely rank to me.
Well,
is that a bit of
well
you?
Be. No. God, look, not normally. I wouldn't touch anything like that with a barge pole. However, that apparently is going down a storm everywhere. A lot of people are trying it. A lot of people are really liking it.
So would there be any particular Magnum like flavour that you would prefer?
The classic
Mag.
The classic Mag for me. It's
all
got
right.
to be the classic.
I think we've got to organise this.
I don't think you can have one with the toffee in it and all that or whatever's in the middle of it, the caramel one. No, just the classic one. But a croissant, nip the top off, open it up.
I'm not a massive croissant fan, to be honest.
Oh,
I just think they're a bit dry.
Yeah, they are.
But maybe with maybe with the softness of the classic Mag, it might work.
It might work.
I think we can get someone behind the glass before the end of the show.
Yeah, to go and get one.
Yeah, and we can.
We'll have a little sample.
We'll contribute to the trend.
Definitely.
We'll send it worldwide.
I'm up for that. And I just thought as well about those food combos all our listeners have had that shouldn't work, but they do.
Well, I've got one, to be fair. If I'm ever working in the morning, I go down to our brilliant canteen and I get, without fail, toast, butter, Marmite, on top of the Marmite, scrambled eggs, and then baked beans.
Oh.
So for me, something that shouldn't work but does is definitely scrambled eggs with Marmite.
Well, Marmite's that's the ultimate shouldn't, and it shouldn't work, but it does for so many. It don't for me.
What about Bovril? Bovril at the City Ground. It doesn't get better than Bovril. Do you know when people sort of like you talk about social media, you go on people's accounts like professional footballers or influencers, and they'll say like Adidas athlete, Nike athlete. My dream is to be a Bovril athlete.
A Bovril athlete.
Yeah, Bovril
you'd be the first
athlete.
I think you'd be the first and probably the only one out there. But again, I've got to be honest, Max. Bovril's never really done it for me. I've not. It's not something I've ever had. In fact, I don't even think I've ever had. If you want to get me a croissant with a Magnum in it and a hot Bovril, I'll even have a go at that as well.
Let's organise it. Behind the glass, fellas. Get your act together. All right, croissant, Magnum, maybe even a Bovril. Get in touch. 03717 22 344. Text us 81089. What food combinations shouldn't work, but for you, they definitely do. We'll get those as and when they come in. But now we're going to start with Spurs, though. And the question we're asking is, do we think they've finally got their act together under Roberto De Zerbi?
Desperate for the whistle, which comes and brings relief to Tottenham Hotspur. Roberto De Zerbi runs onto the pitch. Most of the Spurs players collapse on the floor. It is survival.
I want the player proud, the players happy to stay here, to go on the pitch at Tottenham Stadium.
Yeah, as a coach, as a person, sort of just installing belief in the team.
With this amount of money spent, I think, and this manager, and those facilities, and I think the minimum is, I would say, 6.
Yeah, Roberto De Zerbi's in the seat, first full season in charge at Spurs, and he's been speaking to our friends at the Times in a wide-ranging, fascinating interview. Of course, he saved them from the brink of relegation last season. It looked like the writing was on the wall. But in this interview, De Zerbi has spoken about giving his players the freedom to express themselves. Just want to read a couple of quotes here. He says, "I don't love rules. I like creative players. I don't want to set any rules. Just a couple, 2 or 3 at most. I'm not a policeman, not even with my children." He says, "We have to push every day. We have to deserve to stay here or to play football or to earn the money we're earning. Otherwise, it's not normal. Respect," he says, "is normal. Coach, good morning. Hello. You have respect. If I believe in you, it's much better. If I love you, between players, the coach, you become unbelievable." There's something about De Zerbi.
There is.
Do you know last season when when Spurs were in the absolute gutter.
Yeah.
And he came out, I can't remember after what result it was, but they were in the relegation zone, and he said, people just need to stop crying. And I think coming out with that sort of passion and with that strength of feeling, I think it almost shocked fans and maybe even the players. And obviously, them getting out of it's all down to De Zerbi. And I just like the passion and the no-nonsense approach.
I think you're fine. I think fans, and certainly players do, I think everyone in football likes their coach to be kind of to be mildly eccentric, if you like. Slightly bonkers.
Unpredictable.
Yeah. Unpredictability can be sometimes a little annoying.
But what I mean by that is an element where you never quite know.
Yeah, that's keeping players on their toes I think is a fundamental tool that the best managers have. And certainly, I think I read that interview, Max, as well, and I thought it was very, very good.
Yeah.
Look, I was doing breakfast with Jeff last week and earlier this week, and Solly March came on and said, out of all the Brighton managers you've had, who's the one that you really like? And De Zerbi said was head and shoulders above everybody else.
Pep Guardiola said that he's the most influential manager, one of the most influential managers in the last 20 years.
Yeah. So now he's got to go and make it happen. When Jose Mourinho arrived on these shores, he was already a Champions League winner from his time at Porto, but he fronted it up and he kind of called everyone out, didn't he? Telling everyone how brilliant he was, the special one and all that stuff, and then backed it up and went and done, and as you know, is one of the greatest coaches of all time. He is. And so now for Roberto De Zerbi, highly rated, clearly excites everybody. I'm sure all the Spurs fans are really anxious to see this new look De Zerbi team get underway, get up and running, and be a bit of a force again in the top 6, top 7 of the Premier League. Because I think anything outside that, with the money they spent, I don't think is going to represent anything worthwhile. I think that's where they have to be. But there's something about this guy, Max, you are right, that makes you feel that you want to go along for the ride with him, definitely.
He says there that he doesn't have many rules. And in an era where football seems quite regimented, where players, we talk about the loss of mavericks in the game and players all having a specific role and they have to be at a certain place depending on where the ball is, etc. Do you think the Spurs squad and the Spurs players will appreciate having that little bit of freedom because he loves creative players?
Well, he loves creative players. There are negotiables, non-negotiables. There are certain things you can do, you can't do, and he'll lay those down pretty quickly, I'm sure. I mean, they'll have all of those on board by now, no question. What you want is at the top of the field, you want the Spurs players to feel like they can be inventive, creative, that they can excite fans, that they have the freedom to go and do what they do well and do naturally. So that's what you want at the top of the field. What you want at the back is an organised, a team that looks mean and difficult to break down and to get beyond, and that doesn't give away cheap goals. And that's what Spurs have done over the last couple of years. Every time I've seen something that you think, that looks better,
it looks soft.
All of a sudden, soft goals going in left, right, and centre. So you can't have that. If you want to be a team of any renown, or any note, you cannot possibly keep conceding poor goals. But again, like you read that article, and I'm sure that everybody's very anxious and very keen to see exactly what Spurs turn up. I like a lot of the signings. Do you?
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah.
I mean, Sandro Tonali's a top player. I don't think he's worth £100+ million, but that's the market these days. And the fact that Spurs, this is what I think he's done. He's not just changed maybe the mentality in the playing group and maybe amongst the fans, but at a board level, because he's essentially come to a football club where the board have got the tails between their legs.
Yeah.
And finally, the fact that Spurs are overspending, I think, is probably refreshing for Spurs fans who've had this amazing stadium, all this revenue generated, and they've never really gone for it in the market. And I think that's all down to De Zerbi because he's demanding that.
Yeah, they've had to spend and had to spend big with where they've been for the last couple of years and got away with it. I think, listen, it was pretty simple, straightforward message, I'm sure, from De Zerbi when he took the job. And at the end of the season just gone, he will have said, listen, this can't happen anymore. Yeah. We're going to have to pay. We're going to have to do it early, do our business quickly, and we're going to have to make sure that we get the boys in that we want to. And they've brought in some good players. I mean, look, Jean-Paul Van Hecker, he knows very well from the Brighton days. Matías Fernandes, listen, again was one of the players. Whenever I saw West Ham last season, was always one of their better players. And look, I really like Tonali. I think he's got all the assets you need nowadays to be a very, very useful midfield player, yeah.
We've got into break in a minute, and we're going to take some calls from Spurs fans after that. But what's the ceiling for Spurs this season? What can they achieve?
Well, look, I think what could they achieve? I think they could achieve. Well, I think they should be looking to achieve top 6. I don't think you can say that they're guaranteed top 4. I still think they've got a lot to do to get there. But certainly top 6. Tottenham, I think they've had 2 horrendous league campaigns. But from what I've seen of them, and I think there'll be a freshness, a new vibe, a positivity around the club from the kickoff, from the get-go. I think top 6 is where they should be aiming. Not just to say, look, after 2 bad seasons, let's finish mid-table and then we'll see it, then we'll build from there. Forget that. They're spending top 4 money. So in return for that, they've got to be amongst those European places.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you. Maybe even a decent cut run.
Yeah,
Spurs
winning
fans,
trophy never hurts.
Yeah, we're taking your calls. Have you finally got your act together under Roberto De Zerbi? What's the ceiling for Spurs next season? Get in touch, 03717 223344.
I anticipate Arsenal to absolutely go again and just be as good as they've been this season.
Mm-hmm.
The key element for me on the title this year is Rodri. If Rodri's a Manchester City player throughout the whole course of the season, Manchester City will win the league.
That's a shouting off, that is, isn't it?
Do
Wow.
you disagree? If Manchester City lose Rodri and he goes to Real Madrid, they will not win the league.
I know what you're saying, but I look at it as well from because Anderson's coming, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
He's not Rodri.
I know he's not Rodri.
But he'll benefit from playing alongside him.
Yeah, that would happen.
But if you leave him on his own in there, I think you've got carnage.
I do know what you're saying, but I think there's more of a factor that Maresca might not be up for it either. You don't know yet.
I think he's up for it.
You reckon he's up for it?
I think he's up for it.
We'll see.
He knows that club. He's been at that club. He understands how that club works.
You're talking like a real Manchester City supporter.
He went to Chelsea. He did.
Are you Blackburn? You're a Blackburn fan, didn't you?
Yeah, we'll talk.
Hold on a minute.
We'll talk about their dismal summer in a minute.
What about the other teams?
Why are you doing this? Why are you deflecting?
Well, I'm just trying to say.
All I was doing was talking about the Premier League title race. That's all I was saying. And I was just saying that the big impact, the key piece of information for me is Rodri being a Man City player throughout the whole course of the season. And if he is, Manchester City will win the league.
Cool, but that's a shout.
Do you not think so?
So where was he last season?
Getting back from his ACL, mate. Do you not think so?
No, listen, mate.
So you're tipping Arsenal. You think so? You believe in what I said at the start of the show, that you believe that we're entering a dynasty time.
Yeah, but I wouldn't hang my hat on it.
listening to Drive on talkSPORT. Me, Max Scott, got Andy Townsend alongside in partnership with Giacomo, style and brands for every man. Still to come, we're going to be hearing your questions in WhatsApp. Andy Townsend, it's your chance to ask Andy anything about football or maybe even just a little bit of life advice. Send us a WhatsApp voice note on 03717 223344. Start your message with Wazza Andy. There we go. But just quickly, Gianni Infantino will remain FIFA president.
For the time being.
For now, but has apologised. Thanks, mate. Yeah, that'll sort it out. For errors made in trying to sell off stakes in the World Cup. Elsewhere, Real Madrid have announced the signing of RB Leipzig winger Yan Diamande for around 120 million quid. But more importantly, we asked you what foods shouldn't work but do work, and the text lines have been absolutely blowing up. Simon, the Villa fan, says on Pancake Day every year, I have British pancakes, not American, with grated cheese and baked beans.
Oh, my.
He says, try it, it'll change your life.
Simon, what on earth? And how on earth did you even contemplate sticking that lot together? That sounds like you decided to have pancakes, saw something else in the fridge and you're starving, just thought you'd
end of the month.
All in.
Just day before payday meal. Yeah, I've been there. On the Bovril chat, yes. Sean, the window cleaner, says, try a chicken and mushroom pot noodle made with Bovril. No hot water, Bovril.
No.
That sounds elite.
Pot noodles as well. Don't do them. Do you do them? No, I don't do pot noodles.
They're not bad for a sort of hungover Sunday morning.
Oh, no.
Do you know if you can't be bothered to do anything else?
Yeah.
Hey, what about this one? Peanut butter and pickled onion sandwich. Absolute heaven from Jason.
Pickled onion sandwich. Wow.
That's absolutely
amazing, isn't it? Look, we're taking a lot of people's word for it that these work. Do you know what I mean? But it's bizarre, some of the stuff people put together. But no more bizarre than a croissant with a Magnum stuffed in the middle of it.
And we're going to be doing that live, I'm sure, later on the show before we finish at 7. But now let's turn our attention to a bit of rugby union, because England star Henry Pollock is expected to seek a significant pay rise to remain at Northampton Saints with his current deal expiring next summer. He, of course, recently signed to Matchroom's talent agency, so who better to speak to about this than the chairman of Matchroom Sport and Pollock's agent? It's the brilliant Eddie Hearn. Afternoon, Eddie. How you doing, mate?
Hi, Eddie.
I'm doing good, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, doing really well, mate. Now, look, rugby's on the rise. Henry Pollock is exactly what rugby needs. He's an absolute star. There was an article, I think it was in the Telegraph earlier this week, where you were calling for him to be on £1 million a year. How realistic is that happening? I think Jeff Stelling called it absolute Pollocks.
Yeah. Well, what's Jeff Stelling know about rugby? What's Jeff Stelling know about anything commercial in the world of business in sport, other than being a fantastic commentator? I must say. But the reality is we were kind of walked down the, down the path on that article. Basically, I was asked, do I think that his current pay is in line with his commercial value? The answer is absolutely not. Mm-hmm. And do I think he should be earning 7 figures at the club? And I said, absolutely. So next thing, it's Hearn demands 7 figures from Northampton. We had a really good meeting with Henry, and, it was really refreshing to hear what he wanted and what was important to him in his career, which was predominantly legacy. Mm. I said to him, do you want to stay at Northampton? And he said, 110%. I believe we're going to win the championship next year. That's what I want to do. I love the club. I live 10 minutes away, blah, blah, blah. But I also explained to him that, his annual salary was that of a boxer in a British title fight that you've never heard of. Mm. Right? And he plays over 30 games a year. He gets smashed to pieces on a daily basis. He also, by the way, has every team in the world trying to hunt him down and bash him up during the game. And by the way, as far as I'm concerned, he's the biggest star in club rugby, right? He's the biggest star in England rugby. Now, he's 21 years old. He's got every young kid in the country talking about him. Every young kid that has a dream to play the game or is even playing the game wants to be Henry Pollock. He celebrates like Henry Pollock when he scores a try. They buy the Henry Pollock shirt. They tune into TNT to watch him. They buy a season ticket at Northampton Saints. So, as his agent, whose job is to maximise his earnings and particularly his commercial earnings, which are flying off the field, we have to do a job for him. Mm. Now, you made a comment earlier on, which I think was absolutely spot on, which is rugby is on the up. And by the way, I think it's a sleeping giant if it's done properly. I think you have a number of aspirational young men, and obviously the women's game is flying as well, who actually young people can aspire to be. You look at that Northampton side, it's not just Henry Pollock, it's Finn Smith, it's all of those guys. You look in the changing room, their personalities, they've got great charisma. I mean, they're great athletes, they're great role models. The game is built out of respect and discipline and all the things that we need to be pushing kids towards, like boxing, in my opinion, as well. And this kid's at the forefront of it. He's 21 years old. He's a superstar.
Eddie, I totally agree with you on that front. And of course, based on his relative stardom in the sport, he isn't paid clearly what he's worth. My only question to you as a rugby fan is whether or not the rugby can grow at the pace that Henry Pollock's stardom is. Because we know about the sort of price caps. We know the limits on rugby at the minute. It's slowly growing, but it's nowhere near what, for example, the Premier League is or the money that's in boxing.
Yeah, but by the way, rugby's a big sport, right? And I don't agree with the salary caps and the marquee players and you're only allowed one player on this type of money. It has to be aspirational, and young people need to see the ability to earn money, right? We need to make sure that these kids are driven by legacy and championships and wearing the England shirt. But every young person wants to know they have a financial future in a sport. And I have to be honest with you, when I sat down with Henry Pollock and he told me how much money he's earning at the club, I nearly fell off my chair. I mean, and this is not, I don't think there's many people who would guess those kind of salary levels, right? Because it doesn't make sense. You have to, and I'm talking to Premier League Rugby, the Premiership, I think, actually, there's massive, massive potential in the sport. But you have to allow these investors. These investors want to come in. You look at Dyson at Bath. You look at Red Bull at Newcastle. They want to spend the money. They want to bring the superstars to the club. Let them do it. And other clubs will follow. Other owners will follow. People will start investing. At the moment, people are just scared, saying, we don't want people to spend too much money. No. Let them spend the money. Let the players make the money. Let the clubs battle it out for the best players. Like that, not one. Oh, you're only allowed one big player. What's that? No. You're allowed as many as you want. If you've got the ability to do it, and don't want people say, but then it's unfair. Someone will be better than someone else. Good. Let them spend the money. Then the ecosystem of rugby's coming in. The money's coming into the game. All of a sudden, there's bigger focus. The teams are better. The crowds are better. There's more TV revenue coming into the sport. There's more superstars. The younger kids, the grassroots of rugby is all of a sudden exploding because everybody wants to be like Henry Pollock. Yeah. And then you've got a sport that's bubbling. You can't just fence it in. And that's what we're talking to about these guys.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll watch that, Eddie, we'll be keen to see how all that develops. Got to ask you, of course, about AJ and Tyson Fury. Everybody wants to know where, Eddie, this fight is potentially going to take place. Have you got anything for us? Any news on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've seen all the reports, November 20th, Madison Square Garden. I kind of feel like right now, me and AJ are kind of like the last two standing on the hill waving the Union Jack. I mean, Anthony Joshua made me insert a clause into the contract that said the fight must happen in the UK.
Good.
So at the moment, it can't happen anywhere else. Now, we're under a lot of pressure. Turkey Al Sheikh, Netflix, sounds like Tyson Fury. It sounds like everybody's agreed they want to do this fight at Madison Square Garden. We don't.
No.
Right? I mean, I can't, we want to make it so financially unviable for them to change the contract that they've got no choice but to do it in the UK. I honestly don't know how it's going to play out. All I can tell you is I can assure you that myself and Anthony are saying it just doesn't make sense. Like we wouldn't have signed this contract under its terms if this said the fight was in America. So why should we change it now?
Well, look, I'm sure that all of the fight fans across the UK are on your side with that, Eddie. I
Definitely.
in total agreement.
Yep.
This fight that we all think should have happened, a long time ago is finally going to happen. We all want it to happen, and it has to take place on British soil. So I'm sure we're all with you on that. Eddie Hearn, Chairman of Matchroom Sport, thank you so much for giving us your time, mate.
Thanks, Eddie.
Yes, thank you.
Brilliant stuff. Eddie Hearn giving us the latest on Henry Pollock. Big story because, of course, he is massive in the sport. And then the latest on AJ Fury. It's got to happen in the UK, hasn't it? It's got.
Well, I think it should be here. I really do, and I'm totally with Eddie and AJ on that. The one thing about this fight for me, and I will definitely watch it. I don't care what it's on, where it is, what time. I'm watching it. There's no doubt about that. Does it really hurt the legacy of both fighters if they lose? Because when the fighters are in their pomp, I think it does. It really hurts. But I don't. That's the only bit for me with this fight. It don't really hurt either of what they've achieved and what they've done. Yeah, because we all know they're past their best, and that's the truth.
Yeah,
that's where it is.
I'm with you on that. Look, still to come, we're going to be hearing your questions in WhatsApp. Andy, this is your chance to ask Andy Townsend anything about football or just about life. Send us a WhatsApp voice note 03717 223344 and start your messages with Wazza Andy. But first, it's time for No Googling. And with the League Cup returning tonight, we want to know who was the last side from outside the top flight to win the competition. Who was the last side from outside the top flight to win the League Cup? All that coming up next on Drive.
Look at Real Madrid. Go and look at this is the point that I think Gabby was making this morning. I know that he was making it regarding trophies and what have you, but look at the brand value.
180 million.
There you go. Right, that's how big that football club is.
Right, that's a lot.
That's how big that is as a worldwide entity. 180 million, and you're talking about him coming to a club that has 32 million followers on Instagram. Again, these are very basic metrics. Very basic metrics. But Vinicius Junior is in a completely different stratosphere. All this talk about him coming to Arsenal throughout the whole course of the summer has just been manipulation from an agent trying to get the dude a few more quid. That's what it is. He was never in a million years going to be an Arsenal player this summer. That's what it is. It's just manipulating the market. Like, see if I can get some more money for my guy. Yeah. Why would he come to Arsenal?
I said that was agent talk. Agent talk. Just using Arsenal as a
leverage.
A tool.
Yeah. Arsenal are interested. Oh, right, wicked. Brilliant. Arsenal, champions of England. Right, well, let's use them. Yeah. Let's use them. Go back to the table with the Real Madrid lads. Yeah, he's coming out of contract. You know what I mean? He needs a few more zeros on this contract. Yeah. Okay. We're going to sign Yandy Mande. Let's put some pressure on you. No, don't worry about that. Vinny Jr. ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Is it?
Come on. You can't leave. I just don't see leaving Real Madrid as a... Unless, you don't leave Real Madrid unless Real Madrid leaves you.
That's it.
That's it, mate.
Unless you come to the end of your time on your way, son.
Can't have a supermodel girlfriend and you leaving your supermodel girlfriend.
She leaves you.
For the dinner lady. Like, you know what I mean?
The dinner lady! You can't call Arsenal a dinner lady.
Oh, it's love, innit? It's love.
Over the last few years, Formula One has gone from elitist and insular to a global entertainment brand. The transformation's down to American investment group Liberty Media, who cultivated a new image for the sport since buying it in 2016. Better access to drivers, improved content on social media, and tapping into the US market have given F1 a massive boost in both attention and revenues. But is everyone happy? The fans certainly are, as evidenced by Drive to Survive. Almost 7 million people per season have tuned in to get all the gossip and all the drama from the paddock. The extra exposure means the drivers can demand a higher salary too. In 2010, the top drivers were earning $20 million a year, which isn't bad. But now, the very best earned 3 times that, with Max Verstappen getting a whopping $65 million in 2025. But money doesn't always buy happiness. Some drivers, including Verstappen, don't like the pageantry the changes have brought about. In Las Vegas in 2023, Verstappen said the drivers were made to look like clowns, and the event was 99% performance and 1% race. Some purists who still watch the sport feel the same, and that the spirit of competition has suffered. But Formula One and Liberty Media don't look like slowing down anytime soon. So expect more races, major events and exclusive access in future.
listening to Drive on talkSPORT. Me, Max Scott, I've got Andy Townsend alongside. And a few moments ago, we brought you the first no Googling of the evening. It was this. Well, with the League Cup returning tonight, we wanted to know who the last side from outside the top flight won the competition. You know who it is?
I haven't got a clue, Max. I guessed at Middlesbrough back in the day, but I'm pretty sure they probably were in the top flight when they won it. So who is it?
Correct answer is Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday.
In 1991. Each of the last 35 winners of the League Cup.
Ron Atkinson's Sheffield Wednesday team, yeah? Yeah, they beat us I was a Chelsea player, then they beat us in the semi-final.
I tell you what, I follow Wednesday on Instagram. My godfather's a massive Wednesdayite. Every day there's a new signing. I just think, I know they're back in League One, but no points deduction, new owners, fresh start. It'd be great to see them sort of.
Would do, because they've had, and the last few seasons have been, it's just been a mess, hasn't it? It's been horrible. It must have been a nightmare walking into the ground knowing that, what's happening now? Where are we today? What's the latest? All bad news and all grim. But
the way the fans came together, though, when they went into administration, all the fans came back into the stadium trying to raise as much money as possible, and it's all paid off.
Fair play. Let's hope that they get off to a good start, pal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, long term, I'd love to see him back in the Premier League. But look, still to come, we're going to hear your questions in WhatsApp, and there's still time to get those in. 03717 223344. But now we're asking this question. I'm not sure whether we agree on this.
Go on.
Have wingers become more important than strikers when it comes to winning titles? Spain have just won the World Cup with what you'd probably described as without a renowned number 9, but
Correct.
8 of the top 10 scorers in the Premier League last season were strikers.
Right.
And what I liked about last season, at the start of last season, everyone was buying big strikers. You've already got Erling Haaland, right? My Forest, Chris Wood. I mean, he was injured most of the time, but we were unbelievable with him as just a direct striker. Gyökeres comes in, and I know he's got his critics, but he scored a decent amount of goals.
Full team, was it in the league?
Yeah, and they win the title.
Yeah.
So I think I'm more in the camp of strikers.
Right.
Where are you at?
Well, I just think when you look at the Spanish team, and Oyarzabal, who played up front for them at the World Cup, who had a very good campaign, scored goals, and of course they went on to win it, as we know. But you know that it's all about Lamine Yamal, and you know that the PSG team, it's all about Kvaratskhelia or
Dembele.
I mean, even Dembele plays kind of up front, but he can play anywhere up there, really. I just think the conventional number 9 is almost lost to the game. And I think now when you're building a team, if you've got the finances to go and build a real proper team, I don't know whether or not now absolute priority anymore. It always used to be. You've got to get a proper striker through the door. You need one. You can't win anything unless you get that proper striker. Well, I look at things now and I'm beginning to think you can. I mean, Victor Gyökeres, I mean, look, the ones who buck the trend, are Erling Haaland and Harry Kane. Yeah. They score relentless amounts of numbers. But if you look at Firmino when he played with Sadio Mane and Mo Salah in that spell under Jurgen Klopp when they won it, I think he was in single figures, Roberto Firmino, goals-wise. I just don't know whether or not anymore, because there's such a dearth of absolute top-class strikers, Max, out there. I don't even think anymore that I think a lot of teams probably reluctant to go and overpay for someone that's not really ever going to get anything like the amount of numbers that Kane or Haaland can get. I think sometimes these teams now, these clubs are looking in those wider areas, and they can see far more productive players there than maybe down the middle, which is unheard of, really.
But from a fan's perspective, in the stands, what excites now? Do you think it's changed? What excites fans more, a world-class striker or a world-class winger?
Well, again, if that world-class striker, and if he's in the top, well, if I have, Max, apart from Erling Haaland and Harry Kane, how many others could you name, do you think, that you would really put into that bracket?
What,
anywhere you like?
In the world?
Anywhere you like.
Well, Kylian Mbappe.
Of course, right. But now, again, he's kind of become a centre forward, but he's... in his earlier days, he was plying his trade off one side a little bit, and some argue that he's even better there than he is really down the middle.
Do you know why I say strikers? Because I just think if you have a good striker. Look, not every team's going to have a world-class striker, but if you have a focal point, someone that's direct, someone that is strong and quick, I think it makes for a more entertaining game of football because it's slightly less tippy-tappy, trying to beat a man, if not turn back, pass it back. I think it makes from a fan's perspective, it makes the game a little bit more entertaining because it suggests to me this team can be direct.
Yeah, I think in the past it's always been when a centre forward arrives at the door, comes to your club for big money. I think there's a massive excitement with that, and we've seen that plenty of times in the Premier League. But we are getting to that point, I think, where the wide players coming in. When they talk about Vinny Jr. potentially coming to Arsenal, and Arsenal are blessed with some very good wide players. But if it was Vinny Jr. and Bukayo Saka on opposite sides of the field, with either Kai Havertz or Victor Gyökeres, I think the bit up the middle isn't the absolute key to potentially them going on to maybe go and win the Champions League. I just don't think it is.
Do you reckon that's a product of Pep Guardiola? We know he was so successful, and we've seen managers come and go trying to imitate, ultimately unsuccessfully, what Pep was able to do, which was win a Premier League without a proper striker.
Yeah, but I mean, he went and got a goal scoring machine, didn't he? You know, he did. In the end, he ended up going and getting Erling Haaland, and you can never deny his numbers when you look at him and what he's been able to do. But I don't know. I just think nowadays, I wonder for fans, what's more exciting?
Yeah.
When that top draw wide player comes in, who gets you your assists as well as a very healthy number of goals. Is that a bit more exciting to the modern day football fan than when a centre forward walks through the door?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Look, get in touch, 03717 22 33 44. What do you prefer to see as a fan? Do you want a top striker or do you want a top winger? I think I want a striker every day of the week because I just think there are so many, look at like Anthony, Man United buying Anthony, and you see his highlight reel and you think he's going to be a world beater, and then he comes and stinks the place out. And I think so many times you get wingers that they don't really do the basics well. They might have quick feet, they might have a few step overs, but when it comes to delivery, they don't do it. And so even if you've got and I know this is harsh on a Yazabal, but if you've got like an average striker, if the delivery's good, then you can go and win a World Cup. And I just think that maybe teams miss out in sort of not focusing on that, because I do think that, with Pep Guardiola and what he achieved and how successful he was, I think people have tried to imitate that unsuccessfely.
Yes,
and just tried to get wingers in.
If it was that easy to roll it out, then everyone would be trying to do it. But I do think it's interesting now as well whether the kids that are influenced by the modern day footballers now.
But they're all going to want to be wingers.
Well, I wonder if they are. I wonder if more kids are wanting to be a wide player than being a centre forward. Maybe my kids I've got 2 grandchildren, but they're not playing at sort of 13 and 14. They're not that old yet. But I just wonder whether kids of 11, 12, 13, those ones that are kind of influenced really by what they see, what they watch on the box, I wonder if they're more inclined to go and want to be a wide player than they do want to go and be a centre forward.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
No.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit. All right, let us know, 03717 22 33 44, strikers or wingers, where are you at? Up next, we're going to get into a bit of Premier League preview. Drive on talkSPORT.
£75 million for a player whose biggest attribute is to fall over on the edge of the box and win himself a free kick.
Gosh,
is good money. And if he wants to go and sit on Arsenal's bench, where he'll not be adored like he was at Newcastle, then he's basically going for the money.
The tune has turned. The tune has turned.
All right. So tell me you're not bitter.
Oh, I'm not bitter.
Stop that! He can't be talking like. What is he doing just on the floor? He's
falling at the edge of the box. Falling at the edge of the box.
Falling at the edge of the box. Now you're bitter, man. Come on, you gotta be. You can't be saying them type of lyrics there on live national radio. He was good for you lot. You know that.
He was good. I tell you what.
Yeah, and if he's got down the motorway, if he's going down the motorway and he says, you know what, I've got to change your heart, I'm going back. Are you gonna have him back, or are you gonna batter him just for thinking about leaving?
Me personally, I would have him back. I don't want him to go, but I think it's good. I think it's good money for a player who's limited.
Oh God!
It is good money.
Why do you have to have the dig though? Don't stop having the dig.
And the key thing is now, mate, reinvesting it into the play staff, isn't it? I mean, the money that you've pulled in with Tonali and Wood, and obviously now this week Guimaraes, you've got to reinvest it into the lads, haven't you?
Yeah.
And when we finish above Arsenal, Spurs, and Liverpool at the end of the season, and look down on all of them players who've left, right? talkSPORT will need to find something else to talk about, won't they?
Right.
Yeah, good afternoon. It's Drive on talkSPORT. Me, Max Scott, alongside Andy Townsend. In partnership with Giacomo, you can get fresh looks and great brands from Giacomo. And a little bit later on in the show, because of Andy's viral trend that he's caught on with, he's going to be scranning on a Magnum ice cream covered in croissant. And we asked the listeners, didn't we, Andy? What shouldn't work as food but does? This is from Jane in Hove. She said, Bovril and horseradish sauce.
No. Jane, come on.
I think that's a step too far, and I love Bovril, and I want a Bovril sponsorship, but it's not going to happen. Ben from Derby says, afternoon, guys, Yorkshire pudding with jam. Elite level dessert.
I mean, that's... Again,
hey, each to their own.
Each to their own. Yes, listen, of course it is. Of course it is. And that's exactly what I saw today. And when I witnessed that croissant and the cutting the top off and stuffing a Magnum ice cream in there, I'm thinking, who on earth... Who even thought of that? Who's the one that got it all up and running?
Yeah, it is a bit weird. But hey, fair play. And you can watch that live on YouTube or on your smart TV a little bit later on in the show. But still to come, we're going to be hearing your questions in WhatsApp. Andy, this is your chance to ask Andy Townsend anything about football, about life, about food. Just send us a WhatsApp voice note, 03717223344, and start your message with Wazza, Andy Townsend. But just quickly, Everton have signed midfielder Christian Norgard from Arsenal on a 2-year contract. I think it's just 10 million quid.
Yeah.
I think it's an unbelievable...
Cheap player, isn't it? Cheap Premier League player who's
experience.
I mean, listen, he was part of the squad last year at Arsenal, but hardly ever played. So he's had plenty of time sort of sitting and watching and desperate for minutes. So you'd like to think Everton are getting someone really keen to come through the door and get going again.
Yeah, totally agree. But now it's time for a bit of this.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. Check out Paddy's latest offers on the Paddy Power app or at paddypower.com. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Look, with the Premier League season just a couple of weeks away, let's look at the latest odds thanks to our friends and official betting partner, Paddy Power. And today, Andy, we're going to focus at the bottom end of the table.
Right.
Coventry, Ipswich, Hull. They're the Premier League new boys. How do you think they're going to get on? Can any of them survive? And can all of them survive?
Right. don't believe all of them will survive.
Okay.
Of course they could. Listen, you never know. And I wish them all the very best of luck. I hope they get off to a decent start. Gives you a bit of confidence and gives their fans a lot of hope. I would say Coventry, Ipswich, Hull, and I know that they've all done a bit of business, and Cov have bought and have spent some good money. Coventry have. So I would suggest out of the three, I think, is it one or two? I'm tempted to say two, but I'm going to say one will definitely go.
Who's that?
And I think that will be Hull.
I agree with you.
I think that will be Hull. Listen, sorry to all the Hull City fans, but it's not happened many times, Max, has it? All three stay up.
I think last time it happened was when Forest came up with Bournemouth and Fulham.
Is that right?
So it does happen,
right.
But I think it's increasingly less likely because of the disparity between the Championship and the Premier League.
Is it? How often has it been where all three just go straight away?
Well, so not last season, but the two before, the three that came up had gone down.
They've gone straight back. Yeah, it's so difficult. Listen, it's never about for these teams. Obviously, if they start winning a few games, and it's when they get on that run, they go 4 defeats on the spin. Is that going to become 6? And you know that those teams at the bottom of the Premier League, it could well be 6 or 7, or they lose 8 out of 10, which and then all of a sudden the gap between them and fourth from bottom can start to feel like it's a long way away. And then the season starts to become very tough mentally, physically, every way. So I hope they get off to a good start, but I just finding it difficult to make a case for Hull. We'll see. I could well be wrong. I usually am.
Coventry 6-5 to survive. Ipswich 11-10. Hull 3-1. I just think sort of the CBS after 25 years out the Premier League. I think it's going to be unbelievable. I think, and I feel like with someone like Frank Lampard, who's a Premier League legend, and the feeling around the club, I think that's going to go a long way.
I think what you've just said there is spot on, Max. That I think the whole vibe around Coventry now, another club that's had the most horrendous times, really low and really tough. But now all of a sudden, the whole feeling around the club, and Frank deserves a lot of credit what he did last season. But he will know better than anybody that what lies in store for him now is a completely different kettle of fish. And it's, again, going to be difficult. I can understand. Fatten the squad up as much as you can. Often football fans of newly promoted teams want to see a superstar come through the door. Not going to happen. Thicken that squad out. Give yourself every chance.
I'm actually backing it as it stands. Coventry and Ipswich to stay up. Ipswich just as a club in terms of the infrastructure, the sporting, sort of the top brass at the club. I think they'll have learned a lot from a couple of seasons ago. I really like Gary O'Neill. I like the fact that he's a young English manager. We need to be doing that more in the Premier League. It's a great club. It's a big club. So therefore, for me, there needs to be 2 sides to go down. The outsiders in the odds, Newcastle are 10-1 to go down as it stands. Sunderland 11-4. They had a belter last season, but they've got European football this season. And then Fulham, under Alvaro Arbeloa, 11-2.
It's funny. It's funny when you mentioned that. You mentioned that a bit earlier about Fulham. So, just on the fact, Max, you just thinking the coach was what do you think was a strange appointment, that one?
Well, look, he's played in the Premier League, but he's not got Premier League experience. He was at Real Madrid's academy. He stepped in as an interim manager and he had a 64% win percentage, which for me at Real Madrid is just nowhere near good enough. I just think it might be too early for him. I think it's a bit of a punt to go for Arbeloa. And I think they'll be in and around it next season. Harry Wilson's gone. Neves is gone. So I just sort of struggle to I just struggle to see him.
Well, listen, I think you make some very valid points. I mean, look, Newcastle have just hired a coach and everyone says, how great this guy potentially is. We'll see. We're about to find out. With all those great players that they've let go, Tonali, Bruno, Anthony Gordon, Isak, last time round a year ago, they've lost the heart of their team. The manager's gone, and I think it could be I'm not saying Newcastle will go down, but I think it could be a real tough slog for them.
Yeah.
Could be. If they get off to a slow, sluggish start, if they don't get the right boys through the door. They've spent good money, Newcastle, but they're all kids.
Yeah.
They're all kids.
We're going to have a phone in later on Newcastle because there's potentially a way that we can look at this in a more positive way, rebuilding something. But their rival Sunderland, by the way, it's Jimenez. I said Neves earlier. Jimenez is gone for Fulham. But with Sunderland, what they did last season was incredible. I loved it. But my team, I think has had a better team on paper than Sunderland do.
Right.
And they almost got relegated with European football. And I'm not saying they're going to get relegated, but I think they'll be close to it because it's really difficult to juggle Thursday, Sunday.
I wouldn't argue with that. I wouldn't argue that they're going to be looking over their shoulder. What they did last year was great. Now all of a sudden, year two, often very different. A little bit more expectation from their own fans. They'll want to see an improvement on that last year. Sometimes that's not realistic, but we'll see. That I'm with you in that respect, Max. I think that it could be a tough campaign for them, far tougher than last time round.
Yeah, well, there were some of the odds, and for all the latest offers, to find out more, you can go to paddypower.com, 18+, begambleaware.org.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. Check out Paddy's latest offers on the Paddy Power app or at paddypower.com. 18+, begambleaware.org.
I know Andy was saying a little bit maybe worried about Newcastle next season, but we are going to be asking the question, have they actually had a pretty decent summer?
Hussein, good morning.
Good morning, Shaban. Oh, Akbar Lahore. You're making me boil right now. I can't stand you, mate.
Oh.
You know, what have you won? What have you actually won, Gabby? You've not won nothing.
Yeah.
All you keep doing is just criticize Arsenal. What have you actually won?
Nothing, mate.
You know, it's actually funny that I used to like you as a striker, but now I can't even. I don't know what I used to see in you because you've won absolutely nothing. And Arsenal are gonna win stuff.
But you
They're gonna
used to
win.
like
We've
me, you
just won
said.
the Premier League. Yeah, I used to, but now.
What did you like about me, though,
I wish I
before?
didn't. Now he's your big gob. Sorry to say that. You just keep criticizing Arsenal, but you just don't see how Arsenal are actually making. They're going places right now. We've just won the Premier League. You just even don't appreciate that we did that because you just don't hate Arsenal. That's your issue.
I love Arsenal.
No, you don't.
I do. Thierry Henry is my favourite player. I've got his shirt that I wear at home.
Don't insult my intelligence, Gabby, please.
I love Arsenal, mate.
No, you don't.
I do.
Let me finish by saying this.
Okay.
Why will not what's his name, Vini, not come to Arsenal? Because we are actually building a team. Because we are building. Why should he stay in Real Madrid? Especially what
Real Madrid
happened between him and Jose. Never. You know what? I don't know if I'm gonna get anywhere with you, but I said what I wanted to say.
Aguero, Solskjaer, Deeney, Watkins. Sure, you know all about those last-minute goals, but have you heard the one about the on-loan goalkeeper who saved his temporary employers from disappearing out the Football League and into almost certain financial oblivion? Back in 1999, Carlisle United, managed by Nigel Pearson, were fighting to stay in the Football League. Carlisle's finances were precarious with a capital P that season, leading to a scenario where, with 3 games to go, they had to ask the FA to sanction an emergency loan deal to bring in a goalkeeper. Swindon Town's Jimmy Glass arrived at the club. His efforts in his first 2 games earned the Cumbrians 2 draws. Those vital points meant that Carlisle went into their final game of the Division 3 season, now League 2, needing to beat mid-table Plymouth Argyle in front of their own fans and hope their relegation rival Scarborough didn't win against Peterborough at home. The game at the McCain Stadium finished 1-1, and with the same scoreline at Brunton Park deep into injury time, Scarborough's fans invaded the pitch en masse, believing their Football League status was secure, convinced they'd done enough to stay up. However, there'd be one more plot twist. Carlisle won a corner in the dying seconds, and up came Jimmy Glass. In one of those you couldn't make it up moments, Glass scored from a rebounded header and was promptly swamped by teammates and thousands of fans who quite simply couldn't believe what they'd just witnessed. As for Jimmy Glass, he became an overnight celebrity, but he never played for Carlisle again, and his playing career never really kicked on after that defining moment. He took on various jobs outside of football before finding his way back into the sport as player liaison officer at Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, and most recently the general manager at non-league Wimborne. Not the fairy tale ending to one of the most Hollywood moments in football, but the name Jimmy Glass will live on forever as the scorer of that goal, arguably the most important in any club's history.
Listening to Drive on talkSPORT, me, Max Scott, alongside Andy Townsend. Still to come, we're going to look ahead to a huge season for Phil Foden, expecting a lot under Enzo Maresca. And as well, Andy Townsend's going to be trying his croissant, or Magnum wrapped in a croissant. So if you want to stay tuned on YouTube, Smart TV, I think we're live on TikTok as well. Please do stay tuned for that. But now, have Newcastle actually, have they had everyone's pants down over the last 12 months?
Newcastle United reached total agreement with Liverpool to sell Alexander Isak. The deal for the 25-year-old striker is worth $130 million.
It's ball towards Isak and wide. Two-way man in the middle. Oh, it's in! Swept it in the bottom left-hand corner by Anthony Gordon.
How much I paid for him? 60?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he's worth more than that.
Punched away by the goalkeeper. Out to Tonali! Through a crowded in! Newcastle are level!
There's no way a Serie A club can afford him.
And this has been the worst kept secret in football for several weeks, as far as I'm concerned, that Bruno Guimaraes would quit Newcastle. I think that fee eventually might even be north of £80 million.
Yeah, look, it's been a big 12 months for Newcastle United, much to the annoyance of a lot of their fans and, of course, their former manager, Eddie Howe, who's walked away from the club recently. But they have managed to get some massive fees, Andy, for their key players. Isak, 130 million. Gordon, up to 70 million. Tonali, 100 million. And then now Bruno to Arsenal for about 75 million. So we're trying to ask the question, have they actually just had everybody's pants down in the transfer market? They're getting a load of money in and they can rebuild and sort of do it differently, because we know they can't pull the Saudi purse strings in the way that maybe City or Chelsea were able to in a different day.
Yeah.
Is there a world where we can actually look at this, or we might look back and say, this all worked out for Newcastle?
Well, of course it can. I mean, 370 odd million quid that is, Max, that lot.
Yeah.
Which is an incredible amount of money in a pretty short space of time. but it is the heart of the team. On top of that, Kieran Trippier left. I know that he was coming towards the end of his time there anyway, but there's a lot of big hitters there in that Newcastle squad that have all gone. And I think when they all go out the door at the same time, it's a little bit of a worry because it's the kind of ripple effect from that. All of a sudden, other players, Dan Burn, and I know Dan absolutely adores playing for Newcastle, but he might just raise an eyebrow a little bit. Hold on, wow, all these guys are all going out the door at the same time. Other experienced players, who know, Sven Botman, other, and then you start to, all of a sudden you find the heart of the club gets broken up, and that ain't easy to rebuild. Whether it's a new coach, whether it's with some good young players, they've invested in a lot of young players. We have no idea whether these boys are going to be able to cut it, whether they can
that'd
produce.
be my question, Andy, is you've made all this money, but this summer you've got Hornicek, 24-year-old goalkeeper, Torre, 20-year-old winger, Bamba, 20-year-old midfielder, an 18-year-old midfielder, and then a 20-year-old keeper as well. My question would be, away from all the frustrations about being strangled by squad cost ratio rules or PSR, whatever it was called last season, I'd be saying, where's the statement signing this summer when you've got all that money in the bank?
Very true. Well, listen, we can give it time, and they've still got time to go and find that individual, that player. But we're not hearing anything on the grapevine, are we? We're not hearing about something that might be about to break in terms of Newcastle doing that. Maybe some of the fans, they want to get on the phone and give us a call. They'll tell us exactly who they think that individual might be. I'd have worries for Newcastle with all that lot going out the door. Top players, those boys, by the way, that have gone out. You know, you wouldn't mind it. If there's some of those in there. I know the way that Isak left the club was horrible. That wasn't very good at all from his point of view. I thought, it didn't look good at all. It wasn't a good look. But most of those boys have been, whilst they were there and they were right, they're good pros, good players.
Yeah.
I think you lose that many in one go. You've got to be careful of that. You could very, very quickly run into a few problems. If they were to lose 4 out of the first 6, the Newcastle fans will be panicking. They'll be panicking big time.
Connor's texting, Newcastle have had a lot of money in. However, don't forget they wasted 240 million quid on signings last season that have not yet produced, whether it's Visser, who, by the way, I thought looked a totally different player in the World Cup compared to when he came back from that injury for Newcastle.
What happened there with him? Why did he go there? And Eddie hardly started him, did he?
Well, he had that injury, didn't he?
He did have
came
a
out
knock.
of international, and then he was out for a long time. But I just think, give him a bit more time. Like Nick Voltemade, I know that he, in no way matched the price tag that the Newcastle paid for him. But there's clearly a player in there, like technically incredibly gifted. He's a big lump. He can sort of make himself sort of known in the box, etc. And maybe this is sort of season where they come through.
I watched Newcastle a few times last year, Max, and I was thinking with Anthony Gordon and Elanga, so quick. Nick Voltemade literally couldn't catch the game up and get in the box when Newcastle were counter-attacking.
Yeah.
And very difficult for him. He's just not quick enough to physically do it. And Newcastle, kind of in their DNA, when they're at their best, is when they are playing fast and furious and the crowd are right on top of the opposition, particularly at home. That's when the place comes alive and when they're difficult to stop. But you need that speed and that real pace and intensity, particularly from those wide boys. And I thought they gave them that at times, but I just never felt like Voltemade was the right boy to be kind of trying to stay with those guys and get in the box to convert anything. I could see why in the end he was playing in a kind of slightly more withdrawn, deeper role.
Talk about speed, Andy. Graham says Rashford to Newcastle.
Well, listen, I tell you what, I've heard of, I've known dafter suggestions than that. I think that's feasible. I do.
And the minute they talk about him going to Fenerbahce, I mean, Newcastle would be a much better fit for Marcus Rashford, wouldn't it?
I would have thought so. I'm with you on that. As a 9 or off the left-hand side?
That's the thing. He's versatile. You can play him where he wants. And if you've got that Voltemade, surely you've got to play him as a striker. You know, at times Eddie Howe played him on the left. You've got to have him as a striker or Visser. But then the pace of Rashford cutting in off the left, for example. And then you've already got Harvey Barnes, who I thought was brilliant last season in a really difficult season for Newcastle. In fact, Ollie Klink said that he thinks he could be a candidate for the captain next season. So he's highly thought of Harvey Barnes. They've still got some decent players.
Yeah.
But I just kind of think they need that marquee signing. Newcastle fans, get in touch. 03717 22 33 44. Is there a way for you to look positively on what has happened at your club. Yes, we know the financial restrictions aren't good for you. Yes, we know that Eddie Howe leaving, Bruno leaving, Isak saga last summer is dreadful. But you've made a lot of money. You're a big club with an amazing fan base. Surely it's not all doom and gloom. Get in touch. The phone lines as it stands, there's a couple of calls waiting, but you'll get through if you call 03717 223344. Speak to me and Andy on Drive on talkSPORT.
But the Vinny Jr. one was a audacious attempt, to say the least.
Big word for you.
I've been learning this book that I've been reading. They've got these big words in. I'm trying to keep them in my brain. No, but it was always going to be tough shit, man. Like Vinny Jr. leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, it just doesn't sound right. As Arsenal fans might get angry, I'll say it, but like, imagine Neymar Jr. at Barcelona. He's not going to leave Barcelona for Arsenal. They're always going to come to an agreement. Real Madrid aren't going to let a talent like that at 26. Do you know what I mean? What's he worth on the market? I know he's got a year left, but what's he worth, Vinny Jr.? Over 100 million easily. Real Madrid are never going to let that go. And Vinny Jr. in his mind won't want to leave Real Madrid. Imagine the crowds in Brazil, the people that love Vinny Jr. because he plays for Real Madrid. I just can't see it.
Well, that is interesting because it was my understanding that it was if he wanted to leave Real Madrid. There's never been a he wants to leave Real Madrid.
He's not said it, has he?
He's looking for the right offer. He's looking at Mbappe going, can I get money close to that? Can I get a deal close to that?
Of course.
And if they're not going to give me what I deserve, then yes, I would be interested in what Mikel Arteta is doing. And don't get me wrong, Arsenal are a massive club and they are on the verge of winning the Champions League. They're looking to go back-to-back Premier League champions. They absolutely can, right? They can. So, and I think he would get them over the line, but he's Vinicius Jr.
Good afternoon, you're listening to Drive on talkSPORT. Me, Max Scott. I've got Andy Townsend to my left, all in partnership with Giacomo. Style and brands for every man. Still to come, we're going to be hearing your questions in WhatsApp. Andy, still time to get those in, by the way. Any question about life, football, art, food, magnums and croissants, we'll be trying that later on. Please do get in touch, 03717 223344. Just quickly, Mickey van der Ven is in talks over a new contract at Spurs. In the cricket, Jacob Bethel will miss England's Test series against Pakistan. Not the start Joe Root will be wanting as captain for his second stint. He's had a knee injury and will be replaced by number 3 Jordan Cox. There's still also a surprise recall for Ollie Pope. You can get more on our cricket YouTube channel, the How's That podcast as well. Check that out. But now we're taking your calls. Newcastle fans, we want to know if there's any positivity, because certainly producer Joe behind the glass, he reckons that Newcastle have secretly, they've had everyone's pants down. They've made about 400 odd million quid in the last couple of seasons, and maybe, just maybe, it can work. We're going to head straight to the phone lines now. Liam is a Newcastle fan. Good afternoon, Liam. Thanks for joining us. Any positivity from your end?
Hi, Max. Is that me on?
Yeah, you're on, mate.
Right. Well, yeah. I listen to talkSPORT day in, day out.
Love it.
When I'm at work, in the car, everything. And I'm sick to death of listening to the negativity. All that we've done over the last 5 seasons since the Saudis came in is we've looked to develop the club. And that's all they've done. And if you look at the players that we bought, we've been looking at Bruno Guimaraes. We bought for £40 million.
Yeah.
23 years old. Everyone said, who is he? That's who he is. He's 80 million going to Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
We bought Sandro Tonali. Everyone said, how the hell did we get him? 56 million from AC Milan. We're now sending him for the £100 million.
Fair play. Yeah, you made a lot of money.
When we bought Alexander Isak, £63 million from Real Sociedad, everybody said, we've had our pants pulled down. We don't sell them for, 133 plus add-ons.
Yeah, but Liam, what I would say to you is you've just started to rub shoulders with the biggest teams in the division again. You've tasted Champions League football under Eddie. You've won a trophy under Eddie. With those players, you can continue to rub shoulders with the best teams. Do you honestly think selling the heart and soul of that team can only be a good thing? It's all well and good making money. It's all well and good making money. I understand that's very important, but your owners are incredibly powerful anyway. Surely...
Yeah, but as you know, Andy, same as Aston Villa, we can't spend it.
No, I understand. Look, I understand you can't. It's difficult. It's difficult, and I'm with you in terms of the rules and regulations. I think they're unfair and they're quite penal to teams like Newcastle, like Villa. I do, but I've seen you wait 50 years for a trophy, and you get one with a team that looks like it can be around with the nuts and bolts of it for a while, that it can stay in the top 4 or 5. And instead of that, if you sell the nuts and bolts of that team and then gamble on younger boys coming through the door, there's a big risk attached to that, Liam, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, Andy. However, my point going to what we bought and sold is, if you look, and I hate listening to statistics, and I do on talkSPORT all the time, listening to the stats getting thrown out. If you look at Anthony Gordon's statistics last year, how many goals, how many assists? The young kid we bought in from Hoffenheim, Traore, 13 assists, 14 goals.
But that's at Hoffenheim, though, isn't it? I guess that's the only difference. And he's 20 years old. So the point is, and look, clubs do this. You look at Bournemouth, you look at Brighton, they do this. They're able to sell players, they're able to replace them and continue to improve. And I hope, certainly, Liam, that that's the case for you. Let's head to Gary, another Newcastle fan. Gary, do you share the positivity of Liam, or are you feeling sort of a bit down in the dumps about the fact that you're constantly selling your top stars?
No, I'm very positive as well. Good morning, gents. Good afternoon, gents. Sorry.
Good afternoon, mate.
I'm driving home from work at the minute, but I listen every night.
Good luck.
No, I think it's very positive, to tell you the truth, because what I was seeing last season was just so much. The team seemed to see the way we played, and we're heading to a change. So I love Eddie Howe, and I think he's done really well for her, but I think it was time for him to go.
So what's the minimum expectation this season, Gary? If you're positive, I mean, to be honest with you, we think about 12th, 13th.
Yeah, I'm thinking hopefully top 10, top 9, 10th. I think that'll be a good season. Blend these young kids back in and then go again. You know what I mean? So I just think we need one more good midfielder to replace Bruno. And I think these young lads, and I think especially the wingers, with Harvey Barnes and Elanga, I still think we've got a good team there.
Who's the player that you need to bring in? You talk. We agree. It's all good. It's all good buying these sort of young players that might have some prospect. Maybe two of them work. Who's the statement signing that you want?
They're all looking at somebody from Porto, I believe.
Who?
I forget his name, to tell you the truth. But I think when I was reading about him, but I can't remember his name, so I went a bit blank. Sorry.
That's all right, Gary.
But
hey, look, no.
He looks a really good player, and I think he would have the ability to take over from Bruno then there.
Gary, love it. Appreciate the call. Someone from Porto, hopefully.
Yeah, Gary, listen, thanks for your call. And I can understand that, of course, the club comes first, and the club's future and the security of the club is absolutely paramount to all Newcastle fans. It's just they've waited so long to have a team that you look at and you think, do you know what? That team on paper, that's a proper team. That could hurt any team at any time. And we saw the PSG game against Newcastle against PSG, up in the northeast, which was unbelievable, and the atmosphere for those sort of nights. And I just don't personally feel that team had expired. I didn't think that particular team. I get what Gary says about Eddie. I think Eddie was coming to the end of his time. I think he was. I think 5 years now in any job is feeling like a long time. Gone are the days when they do 20s and 15 years and 20 years and all that stuff that Arsene Wenger and Fergie did. But I felt Eddie was coming to the end of the road, and I think he's actually got out at the right time. I genuinely feel that. But I didn't think the team had sort of had absolutely got to where it potentially could get to.
But are Newcastle able to have a sustained period of success when they're constantly having to sell in order to comply with financial rules? We're
about to find out. We're about to find out now, Max, because they've had a team, I think, that was a match for most. And that has now broken up. They've taken the money, they've decided to cash in on those boys, and they're now looking to do it again. How quickly they can go and win another trophy, how quickly they can get themselves playing regular Champions League football is about to be seen. There's a lot of good players still at Newcastle, don't get me wrong, but they've sold the heart of that team, I feel, and it's not straightforward in trying to replace those boys. No way.
Well, let's ask Steve, the Newcastle fan. Steve, when are you going to be back in the Champions League if you're constantly being forced to sell all your best players?
I hear what you're saying, and I hear the negativity, but I'm really positive for this season. Gordon only scored penalties last season.
Yeah.
His form hasn't been great in the league. Harvey Barnes, far more productive on the left. And if you look at Tonali, he's been there, he was with us 3 seasons. His first season he was banned. His second season he was good. And the last season there he was average. And we've just got 100 million for him.
Yeah.
So I think that's great business. Bruno, yes, he kisses the badge. He came to us when we were relegation fodder, really. He stuck with where he lifted the first trophy in God knows how long. Fantastic. But if Bruno had stayed, he would have wanted about a 5-year contract on 250 grand plus. So we would have ended up with a 34-year-old Bruno running around St James's Park.
Yeah.
Not all players play great into their mid-30s like you, Andy.
No.
You know?
Listen, I totally hear what you're saying. You make some very valid points about some of them. That there does come a point with certain players where you take the money and you might have had the best of them.
Yeah.
I said that about Yuri Tielemans, funny enough, at Aston Villa. I think Yuri's a brilliant player. Villa have seen some tremendous stuff from him, But they've let him go. He's gone to Man United for 35 million. It seems a very cheap player. But who knows? Villa might have seen the best of him. They might have. So that can well happen, as Gary just said there. But it's a big ask, Max, to keep on replacing teams overnight and trying to. And it's a shame for Newcastle. I think everyone loves seeing a Newcastle team at their best.
Yeah.
I think there's always something very magical about that and that club. But I'm telling you now, it is not simple and straightforward. Whatever anybody says to replace some of these boys and expect them to go and get trophies under their belts and get in the top 4 again, that is not easy. And it might be some time before they have to before they enjoy some of those big nights again. And then it starts to become a little bit of a worry.
I think I make you right that it's all well and good making all the money, but you've got to go and make a statement signing, as in a top-class signing that is oven ready for the Premier League and for the pressure of playing for Newcastle. But I do always go back to the point that John's just messaged in. He says, what's the point in having money if you can't do much with it? 04-05 Chelsea would have won the League Cup, then they would have to sell Terry, Lampard, and then Jose walks. This is why Newcastle fans are frustrated. And I know we've spoken to some ones that are feeling positive, and that's great. And I hope they're right, because Newcastle are a great club. The fans are unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I just worry that you can't just do it, signing some 18-year-olds and 20-year-olds that we've never heard of. They need someone to fill the boots. That big question is, and I'd love to hear from the callers and texters, who's the captain for you next season that's going to play week in, week out? I know Dan Burn's a leader. We'll hear from you after the break. But still to come, we're going to be hearing your questions in WhatsApp. Andy, still time to get those in on 03717223344. But first, it's time for a bit of no Googling. We want to know which player holds the record for scoring the most hat-tricks against a single club in the Premier League. Now, I've just seen the answer because it's on my computer, but I think I knew this.
You knew it anyway.
And my football trivia is not very good, but I knew this because for me, he's a Premier League legend.
Okay, right. Let me have a think about that, Max. I'll have to.
All that coming up on the break. Up next on Drive on talkSPORT. Do you think he'll regret the way he went about last year?
Well, he should, in my opinion. I'm his biggest fan, right? Someone who scores 40 goals a season from right wing, not centre forward. People know him inside out. He can beat you both sides, so you can't stop him. To do that 8 years on the bounce, then he starts the season off, and he had 3 goes. In my opinion, he threw his toys out the pram and said, like, the club have thrown me under the bus. That was the first one. We're all going like, what do you mean by that? Club has thrown you under the bus.
Just had an unbelievable bumper contract.
He's got a 2-year contract, 500 grand a week. And then, again, he got left out again, and he had another go. And then just as he was on his way out the door, and he hadn't got the manager of the sack, he had another go saying we should be playing Jurgen. Basically, we should be playing Jurgen Klopp football and go back to it because we've gone right off the boil. And all the directors must have read it and gone, right, we've obviously got the wrong manager. So I don't think he should have done any of that, but he done it, and now he's gone. So I think probably on reflection he would have thought, I've tarnished he's like a superstar at Liverpool. He's up there with Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush as a legend. But that leaving like that, I don't think he should have done that because it was petulance. It was like as if, you can't leave me out, I'm Mo Salah. Well, he did.
boxing. It's a sport that makes multi-millionaires out of the world's best fighters, but it's not as flush with cash as you'd think. We all see how much the likes of Tyson Fury or Canelo Alvarez make every fight, but that's not the case for those just starting out, or those who aren't even at that level. For example, if you've just turned pro and don't have a promoter, you have to sell your own tickets, cover the cost of the venue yourself, and pay the tax man at the end of it. You might not even break even, but if you do, you're looking at 5 to 10 grand max. A mid-tier fighter might make more like 10 to 50 grand, but you still have to give up half of that in costs. So unless you're fighting for a world title, it's tough to make money. One potential way of doing it, though, is being a journeyman. Here's former European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver explaining how that could work.
They want to fight every week, and they can be going in against the prospects, so they can demand good money, and they might be demanding like 5 grand, 10 grand for a 6-rounder or something because they're going in with a prospect. He gets through that, the journeyman gets through that fight, and he can fight again next week.
I mean, even so, it's not much, and you're getting punched in the face for a job. It's only really at the top level, i.e. fighting for titles, where you're earning up to 6 figures and can afford a diamond chain or that Ferrari. So boxing isn't a sport that allows you to retire at 40 and live a life of luxury. Much like a lot of other sports and jobs in general, it takes an awful lot of luck quite early in your career to really make it worth your while.
Good afternoon, thanks for joining us. It's Drive on talkSPORT, me, Max Scott, alongside Andy Townsend. And a few moments ago, we brought you the second no Googling question of the afternoon. We asked you which player holds the record for scoring the most hat-tricks against a single club in the Premier League. The answer, Andy?
Well, the answer, I had about, how many? 8 pathetic attempts.
I know, I gave it you in. I don't know if I broke the golden rule, but I gave it you in there.
In the end.
Go on, reveal it. You reveal it.
No, and I've forgotten it. Go on, who was it?
It's Luis Suarez.
Luis Suarez.
3 hatties for Liverpool against Norwich.
Norwich, that's right. That was one of those goals, was that incredible lob when it half volleyed from the halfway line.
He was unbelievable.
Remember?
That season when what was it? Disaster at the Palace or whatever people call it these days.
Yeah. Was that? Do you remember the goal when what was the game when he took one on his chest, right? Inside the box, sort of on the run. It was like a 40-odd yard pass.
Yeah.
Someone's pinged it from the halfway line or whatever, and it's looped up in here, and he took it on his chest, all in one movement, kind of on the half turn, drops down, and then outside of the boot, knocks it past the goalie. Went round the goalie, I think, and then knocked it in. Like an unbelievable. He was a brilliant footballer, wasn't
he? He's a Premier League Hall of Famer, no doubt.
Oh, without doubt. I've seen him a few times playing for Inter Milan. right?
in Miami.
Yeah.
Milan.
No, I beg your pardon, into Miami. I'm sorry. And I've seen him on the box a couple of times playing for them. Obviously, and I don't know if he's still playing now, Luis Suarez. I don't know if he's packed up. I'm not sure, but. What I saw of him last year is, I mean, listen, I don't blame him for going as long as you can. That's what you do.
Yeah, fair play.
But
rinse it.
Yeah, rinse it. But he was some player at Liverpool. Brilliant, he was. Really good.
Still to come, we're going to have some fun with the best of talkSPORT. We all love a bit of that. But now, could a new Man City contract signal a brand new day for Phil Foden?
Phil Foden, he's going to be 30 at the next World Cup. I think his peak years, we won't be seeing him at a World Cup, which I think is such a shame.
When you have the first downturn and you start being left out by your manager at club level, and then you're not quite, in the starting 11 for England, but I just hope he can reignite his career. He really needs to.
He should be at his peak now at 25. Never done it in an England shirt. He's fumbled his last 2 chances to impress the manager. At the moment, it sounds like a training ground player.
The local lad scores in a Champions League semi-final. Phil Foden races onto it and in. Oh, this boy's in form. Foden's on fire.
I think he set such a high bar when he burst onto the scene.
He knows he's got a big season in front of him, and he's up for it.
Running clear, feeds it unselfishly to Foden! 4-0 to Manchester City.
Are you a Marvel fan? Is it Marvel or is it people getting? Oh, it's actually technically DC. Are you a Marvel fan, superhero fan?
Actually, I must admit, I do like some of those films and have seen a few of them over the years. But I'm not like, I don't collect all the old comics or anything like that. I'm not anything like that.
Okay.
But I've seen a fair few of the superhero films, Max, and I don't mind them. Yeah, pretty good.
Well, the reason I ask is because as the new Spider-Man film becomes the second fastest movie in history to gross $1 billion, Phil Foden's been speaking about his brand new day at Manchester City. Spider-Man brand new day, Phil Foden brand new day. What can we expect from the boy this season? Of course, last month he signed a new contract at the club till 2030. He's been speaking to the media while on a pre-season tour in South Korea, and he was asked if at the age of 26 it's time for him to take a step up into a leadership role within this fabulous Man City squad.
I think I have to be, really. Obviously, I've been at the club for so long. I'm one of the last only remaining players that have been here for a long time, so yeah, I think I have to be this season one of the leaders, one of the captains in and around it for sure, so I'm looking forward to that new responsibility and trying to take leadership.
It's nice to see him talk like that.
Yes.
It's nice to see him look relaxed and enjoying his time under Enzo Maresca, albeit for a short period of time.
Yeah.
But this isn't a question. Phil Foden has to step up, not just in terms of his performances, but in terms of his leadership. He's absolutely right.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, look, he has achieved so much, and we still, because he's a kind of babyface sort of guy as well. You still look at Phil and you think he's like 23 or whatever. He's just 26, and he's won so much.
Is that peak? Is that peak years?
I think your peak years are probably between 26 and 28. Yeah, okay. I think they would be. I mean, obviously it can vary between players, but he has been such an incredible talent. I don't think I'm not sure if I've seen a better Premier League player who can run in with the ball so effortlessly. I mean, Henry was amazing when he was running with the ball in that incredible pace. But Phil is such an amazing and gifted individual. He's got his head up. He knows exactly where the ball is, and he's had that right from day one. But he's just lost his way a bit for the first time, as we heard in that little montage there. Kind of lost his way, and others were playing. And Pep's never the sort of manager. Pep with everybody, Max.
Yeah,
he'd custard pied them all in their time. Every single one of them had a spell where they weren't playing and probably were thinking, what's going on here? And I'm sure Phil did at times. He probably thought that as good as I've been, did I not warrant maybe a little bit more trust and support at that time? Well, that's not the way it works. He knows that. And so now I'm sure we'll see a revitalised Phil Foden. A lot of those fabulous players that he grew up with, the De Bruynes, the Bernardo Silvas, all of those boys have now moved on.
Rodri might be gone as well.
Rodri, potentially, who knows? You never know till the end of the window. So then all of a sudden you start to look at it and you think, now where does Phil absolutely operate at his best?
That's my question. Where's his best position?
Well, I mean, look, he would probably want to play as in the 10, somewhere in there. And there'll be others that would argue he's better off the right-hand side, half and half, coming in on the left foot. I personally think he can affect the game. I think those three behind the one striker, which you'll have at City, I think those sort of three behind the one, I think you can float and go pretty much anywhere. City are a team not that are designed to float and to rotate and to move into different positions, and he's well aware of that. He can play as in that 10 position, or I think off the right-hand side coming in on his left foot. When he's at his best, he's up there with some of the finest you've ever seen with the ball at his feet. Honestly, he's that good. But he's found it tough, lost his way, confidence even for the very best players. Confidence goes, you just don't look quite as invincible. So he's got to kind of readjust and he's got to find it. Maybe that bit of added responsibility now, Max, on top of all that, just might make him dig that little deeper to make it happen again.
I hope you're right, mate, because just for England as well. I mean, when I think of, England for generations have had players, top-class players that have underperformed. And I look at Phil Foden, and for me, it's he's been the most disappointing in an England shirt because he's such a wonderful player. You look at that 23-24 treble winning season, 53 games, 27 goals, 13 assists.
Unbelievable.
But saying
Fabulous.
that, since the 2020-21 season, he's had double figures in goals every single season. And so maybe there's an element where you think, have we been a little bit harsh? And because we see Pep sort of chop and change, and he's well within his right to do that. He's been an absolute genius, and he deserves being one of the greatest managers of all time. He deserves that title. But there are, I think, sometimes players that become victim to Pep's sort of chopping and changing, and Phil Foden seems to be one. But he's had double figures every year.
Yeah.
Richard's got in touch. He's a Man United fan, actually. He says, I think Phil Foden's going to have a huge Premier League season. He thinks that Maresca's going to use him in a number 10, and he's going to benefit from the fact that Kevin De Bruyne has gone, because he'll be given the space, and he'll be the number one. Because you could argue on paper, Phil Foden is the best player at Manchester City now. If Rodri leaves, I mean, technically the most gifted, I think, without doubt. But whether he's ever going to be more important than Erling Haaland is to Manchester City, I possibly, Max, would doubt, because Haaland's numbers, if you took his goals away, then they probably wouldn't be fighting and challenging for all the honours as they usually are. Do you think they can win the title this season, Sir?
I would doubt they're going to win it this season. I think the problem for all those teams challenging Arsenal, when you look at, Chelsea got a new coach through the door, Xabi Alonso. City have got Enzo Maresca. All right, they know him. They know how he works, and he well knows them. But it's still different when you're trying to pick it up on the back of Guardiola. Iraola going into Liverpool. All these teams are going to have... There are going to be some doubts, some question marks, and they need a little bit of time, which is why Arsenal should potentially, we'll see how Manchester United fare, but Arsenal should capitalise on that.
Who's going to run them closest, do you think? Who's going to run Arsenal closest in the title?
I've got a feeling that Iraola might pick it up a bit quicker than some of the others. Yeah, and I know they've got a few issues and there's some doubts about the squad in certain areas. They've got to add to that. They've got to make sure that they have the numbers in the right positions. But I've been very impressed with what he achieved here in the Premier League with Bournemouth, and I don't know, something about him. He's just one of those guys again that I feel if they get off to a good start, he could get them up and running pretty quickly.
I thought that until they've hardly signed anyone, and I look at their back line. And, this young Leone lad who got that terrible injury last season, he's going to be a great player, but he's still coming back from injury. Jeremy Jacquet they've brought in, and he's injured. I just think defensively...
Yeah, there are question marks. You're absolutely right.
And again, they're a bit like Newcastle. They've got... Not that they've sold as much as Newcastle have, but I just think they've got to make a big signing. I know Bradley Barker's on about coming in, potentially. I think they need more in their back line. For me, the biggest challenges, and I couldn't have my pants down, later on this season if people remember this, because it could go terribly wrong. I think Chelsea under Xabi Alonso are going to have a great season.
Yeah, okay.
No European football.
No European, yeah.
Great manager. We've been crying out for Chelsea to bring experience in, and I think they've done that. Whether it's Danny Welbeck, whether that's Jordan Henderson to control the dressing room, Lacroix's going to turn out to be a world-class centre-back. I think that spine, yes, they might not start every game, the likes of Welbeck and Henderson, but I think to change the culture at Chelsea, and with no European football,
yeah, goalie,
I'm not saying they're going to win the league.
Goalie.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it?
Goalie and defensively, Reece James, I think, is a top footballer if he can stay fit. That's always been. I think that's a problem you have to live with at Chelsea now. That Reece is going to have spells where he's going to go out of the team. I agree with you, Cucurella. One of the most annoying players ever to watch. I think, honestly, Mark Cucurella, because he could be a little piece of work. Let me tell you, he really can. But good player, good player, good defender, and he's obviously gone out the door now. So they're going to have. They've got issues, I think, at Chelsea that we'll have to wait and see how they've addressed them and whether it's all knitting together and whether it's working. But on the face of it, very bright coach. Some good players have come through the door. Morgan Rogers is a huge loss to Villa and a great signing for Chelsea. Despite the price tag, he can be whatever he wants to be, that boy. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to at the Bridge.
Yeah, well, look, all said and done, we certainly hope that we see the very best of Phil Foden, not just for Manchester City's sake,
definitely,
but for England's sake. We know what a world-class talent he can be. Let's have it, give him a leadership role and see what he's made of. 26 years old, new contract. Team Phil Foden here on talkSPORT Drive. Stay tuned.
Smoke without fire, of course not. He is interested in the Arsenal project.
Arsenal
if he's to leave Real Madrid.
Arsenal going for Vinny Jr. is like me sending Rihanna a message on Instagram saying that I'd love you to come to the Bullring in Birmingham. I want to take you around Birmingham on a date. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, he's not leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, one league title in over 20 years, can't win a Champions League in their whole existence. He's not going to come to Arsenal. He's used Arsenal to get an extra 5, 6, 7, 8 million pound a year, and he's going to sign a new contract at Arsenal. I mean, sign a new contract at Real Madrid. Simple. What he's doing. Arsenal have been used.
Did you ever shoot your shot with Rihanna though? Did you ever do it?
I might have. Yeah, I might have. That's private business. I might have.
But the point is, we know that Arsenal have made a go at Vinicius Junior, so they've tried.
And maybe I tried, and it didn't work out.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for Arsenal, is it?
You make me cringe.
No, one league title in over 20 years. Never won the Champions League. Can't sit at the big table of the Champions League winning clubs like Villa, Nottingham Forest, Celtic. And you think you're going to go and sign Vinny Jr., the fan base that Vinny Jr.'s got in South America because he plays for Real Madrid.
It's not.
Rodri's doing everything he can probably to get out of Manchester City to go to Real Madrid. Haaland will go to Real Madrid at some point in his career.
It's not dead yet.
You're listening to Drive on talkSPORT. Me, Max Scott, Andy Townsend in partnership with Giacomo. Get fresh looks and brands from Giacomo. Still to come, the ice cream, the Magnum has arrived. The croissant has arrived. It's been warmed up in the microwave as we speak, ready for Andy to try his, what would you call it?
God knows what you call it, Max. I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue.
A Magson.
Well, exactly. I had no idea what this thing's being called.
We'll just call it the Townsend.
Well, there you go.
And he's trying it live on air because he's seen it on TikTok, so we've got it prepped for him. That's coming just after 6. But just quickly, Everton have signed midfielder Christian Norgard from Arsenal on a 2-year contract. Elsewhere, Gianni Infantino will remain FIFA president for now. But
clock's ticking.
Yeah, of course it is. Time's up. UEFA boycott the World Cup till he's gone. And he's apologised for errors made in trying to sell off stakes in our beautiful game. But enough of him. It's time now for a bit of this. This is the best of talkSPORT and Friends, where we run you through some of Alan Brazil's highlight moments. Oh, from his time at talkSPORT. We're not doing an Alan Brazil special. We're going to save that for when he's back in the studio. That was yesterday's one. So I don't know what we got.
Well, look.
We'll kick things off with this morning's breakfast show, shall we? Because, of course, talkSPORT's listening figures have delivered once again. And friend of Drive Time, Gabby Bonlahor, was keen to pay tribute to his colleagues.
Breakfast are the one that's gone up the most as well. I don't want to put anyone else and throw anyone else under the
Breakfast,
table.
well done to everyone.
Other shows, do you know what I mean, that aren't getting like the success that Breakfast does, and that's why it's the biggest show. You've got the best staff.
No, you were classy for a minute, and now you're turning into.
I haven't named names, have I?
Well, you just don't have to do that.
Yeah, all right. I know they are.
But tell me off air.
Yeah.
What do you make of Gabby throwing shade at the Drive Time show?
Well, look, there's a fair bit of that goes on, isn't there? There's a little nibble here and there.
Where's your loyalties lie, by?
Well,
because you do a bit of breakfast, you do live stuff, you do Drive Time.
I have done, yes.
Pick a team, Andy.
Do you know what I would say? And I don't want anyone to be offended, but the reason why I like breakfast, because you get first shout at whatever's breaking that day or whatever's happened the night before. Bang.
You don't get free croissant.
What you don't get is a croissant with a Magnum stuffed in the middle of it.
That might tip the scales, who knows?
Correct.
What was the last thing that really annoyed you?
About 2 days ago, I was indicating in my car to park.
How fast were you going, Andy?
No, I virtually stopped. Okay. There was a car pulling out.
Yeah.
Right, but the car coming in the other direction, as the car pulled out of this parking space, a car coming in the other direction cut across the road,
sped in,
and went straight in the gap.
That's shocking.
And that's a wind-up, isn't it? Let's be honest. When that happens.
How did you respond?
Well, I'll tell you what, where it was, I couldn't double park him. Otherwise, I would have just pulled my car up and nailed it next to his door so he couldn't get out. But unfortunately, there was nothing I could do because it was up the high street of a little village.
A reminder: Gabby returns to Drive Time at 4 p.m. tomorrow. We'll see how he's received. He'll be alongside Rory Jennings.
Right, over to this morning's 10 to 1 show. Carlton Cole was alongside Adam Cattrall, and he just returned from his fishing trip.
The less said, the better.
Okay, all right.
I'm going fishing. She's not listening right now.
Right, okay. Basically, you're acting like young'uns just say, yeah, Mum, I'm going out, yeah? But you're actually doing something else.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
No, we was there.
Yeah, you were at the. I'm not denying that you were at the fishing place.
Yeah.
But you weren't casting any rods, mate. You were necking a couple of cans.
Nah, there weren't no maggots. There weren't no bait. There was nothing there.
Right, have you ever caught anything fishing? Are you a keen fisherman?
Well, funnily enough, I grew up next to a canal. Fisherman, 7 days a week, all hours of the day. I've never been fishing.
Really?
Never.
Never been?
No. And I'm from the country. I'm a country boy, but I've never been fishing.
I mean, the canals can be a bit. I mean, some of the fish in there ain't the best, are they?
No, it's not.
You get a pram in there or something like that, or a shopping supermarket trolley, but you don't get a lot of fish.
No, I've never been.
No. Okay, all right, fair enough. Well, there's always time. Who would be the worst person at talkSPORT to potentially go fishing with?
I reckon Jamie O'Hara would get pretty impatient pretty quickly.
He could do, yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I think you're right. I think he could start getting very fidgety quite quick, Jamie.
Yeah. I wouldn't want that. If you want to go fishing, you want peace, you want quiet. Don't matter if you don't catch anything. Enjoy the view.
Ali loves fishing. Of course he loves fishing. He's sea fishing. He goes and does all that marlin stuff on the big boats out in the States. Oh, yeah, he don't mess about. Right, and what's the most pointless hobby?
I think it's grown adults collecting like football cards.
Some of them. Do you know some of them cards, Max? Right, are worth a right few quid.
Yeah, but
if you happen to get
what's
hold
the
of the
chances
right
of you
one?
really getting one? Sometimes I don't go on TikTok very often, but sometimes you scroll through and it's just a live video of someone peeling open cards,
right,
and sort of reacting because they got a shiny Andy Reid or something. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. No, I think I wouldn't say that's the most pointless because, as I mentioned, there can be some serious money.
What have you got? What's a pointless hobby for you?
Don't know really. Off the top of my head.
Whatever floats your boat.
I can't. I mean, there's a lot, but I'll think of one in a minute. I can't think of one right now. Right, and for all the best bits of White and Jordan, check out Outspoken wherever you get your podcast.
And we're going to finish with Extra Time, hosted by the legendary Paul Ross. Here's his producer, Kane Reeves, discussing his bizarre sleeping arrangements.
Oh, mate, they're on the mend ever so slightly after I fell out of bed, which makes me sound incredibly old and...
Pushed out by a dog?
Yeah.
A literal dog?
An actual dog, yeah.
Ronnie what is he? Maltese Terrier?
Maltese Terrier. Yeah. They're quite strong, though. Why we should all have carpets for these exact reasons.
And not allow dogs to sleep in bed with us?
Well, apparently we're not meant to anyway, because it's very
They're not meant to.
unhygienic.
Well, can you only imagine? They're covered in fleas, aren't they, dogs?
Well, not my dog. He's
All dogs have got fleas.
Are they? Well, so humans, really, haven't they?
No, you haven't.
Yeah, we
Speak
have.
for yourself.
We've always got something on us that we're scratching.
I've just got a dog, puppy, Goose.
Yes.
Right, and he's never allowed in the bedroom. He's not allowed.
And I think you're right. You should stick to that.
Yeah, I just think it's
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that, of dogs sleeping. And I've got lots of friends, and I love my dog. Look, my dog is enormous. Dog is 73 kilos.
What dog is it?
Newfoundland. He's massive. So I couldn't even get him on the bed. Never mind in it. So I wouldn't even entertain that.
Right.
But I know I've got lots of friends whose dogs are literally between them every night of the week, and I cannot. I mean, I cannot get that at all.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I'm
dog
not
sleeping
having it.
everywhere. I don't
I'm
get
not
that.
having
What's the worst sleeping habit your partner can have?
Snoring.
Yeah.
Don't like it. Can't stand it. Occasionally happens, but I'm not gonna call her out. Bless her.
No. And what's the strangest way you've ever injured yourself?
Just running. I mean, I mean, that's not strange, but I've got glass ankles. Every time I go for a run, I twist.
Roll your ankle.
Yeah.
Twist it.
Yeah, shocking.
Nightmare. Strap them up.
Yeah, well,
Strap 'em up,
I've just given up now.
Yep.
I've just given up. Go to the pub instead. Reminder: Kane and Paul return to Extra Time at 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. Of course, remember you can find all our shows on our lovely talkSPORT app. You can swipe between stations: talkSPORT, talkSPORT 2, and all of our other sister stations, so you never miss a moment.
You know, 1 minute I'm doing this, I finish at 10:15. There's a car outside. I'm like, what's going on? Straight down to Addenbrooke's, Cambridge.
Okay.
And a few hours later, wallop, they open me up and stick a new liver in there. So I did have cancer on my liver.
Did you?
And we suspected that for months, to be honest. But they didn't want to go in and touch it and shake it up in case you could make it spread, you know. But anyway, they decided that, first of all, they said the perfect match came in, or else I might still be waiting.
Yes.
And people who know what I'm talking about, who are on the list, you can wait 18 months. You can go down there, get ready to have the op, and they say it's not quite right. Go away, come back. We'll phone you later, maybe in a few weeks, and it can be murder. It can be terrible. But I was so lucky. I went down there and they said we've got one, and it looks perfect. So we're going to do it now. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? So they eject you all over, and you think you have to sign a few forms.
Of course, yeah, of course.
And you get carried in there, and it's like, goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. I thought, see you later.
Yeah. Just it's a massive
Wife's
operation.
in tears, and it's horrible.
But you knew though, didn't you, Al? Before that, you knew. You know, when you were on air here and you felt dizzy and you had to come off, you knew something was.
Well, that was the stage where I had to get it done, or it was see you later.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise it was that extreme, but it was. They told me, said another couple of weeks you were gone.
From the Toffees to the Tractor Boys, the Eagles to the Seagulls, Gunners, Bees, Hammers and Magpies, Premier League teams have got a load of crazy nicknames. Ever wondered where they came from? Let's start with Everton. They're dubbed the Toffees, but why? Well, because when the club was formed, just down the road there were two local toffee shops. Ye Ancient Everton Toffee House and Mother Noblet's Toffee Shop were big fan favourites. Next, they say if you can't beat 'em, join 'em, and that's exactly what Ipswich Town did when it came to their nickname. The term Tractor Boys used to be chanted by their opponents as a way of putting the team down for their farming background. But during one game back in the late 90s, Ipswich were 1-0 up and they decided to flip the script. 1-0 to the Tractor Boys, they sang, and a new nickname was born. Let's head to Leicester, famous for more than just a red, well, orangey cheese and Jamie Vardy. Leicestershire's also the birthplace of fox hunting, hence the Foxes. Next up, turns out apples are not the only fruit that don't fall far from the tree. Bournemouth's nickname, the Cherries, comes from the fact the club's stadium was originally built right next to a bunch of cherry orchards. This next story actually involves two club nicknames. It started with Crystal Palace. They were having an absolute nightmare run back in the early 70s. They'd been relegated after a terrible spell and manager Malcolm Allison decided enough was enough. He wanted a new nickname, something strong, fast and destined for success. Something exactly like an eagle. But there's more to this one. Brighton were in search of a nickname too, and Palace finally gave them what they needed. In a heated match between the two back in 1976, Palace fans began chanting, "Eagles, Eagles," and some clever Brighton fans came up with the perfect reply, "Seagulls, Seagulls." Not all club nicknames have a crazy story though. Take the Gunners. That just comes from the fact a group of munitions workers in the Royal Arsenal factory in Woolwich set up the club in 1886. On the flip side, some nicknames seem simple, but there's a bit more to them, like West Ham. The Hammers is actually nothing to do with the ham part of the name. It comes from the fact the club used to be called Thames Ironworks FC and was made up of workmen and shipbuilders. So next time the away end's chanting their crazy nickname, you'll now know exactly where it came from.
Good evening. If it is the evening or the afternoon, late after, is it evening or afternoon? 6 o'clock?
I think in the summer we're not quite evening yet, are we?
All right, good afternoon. You're listening to Drive on talkSPORT. Me, Max Scott, alongside Andy Townsend. Still to come, we'll be hearing your questions in Wazza. Andy Townsend as well. We're preparing the Magnum and Croissant. We're going to try that live on air.
I'm starting to panic a little bit about that now.
I'm getting more excited about it the more I think about it.
You're going to have a bite as well?
Yeah, of course I am.
All right.
But now, football is back, and it's back tonight with a bang. And the talkSPORT network's got you covered.
Just got to love the Carabao Cup. Early rounds, you are guaranteed drama.
Ball in right-footed efforts here. It's Middlesbrough that take the lead. And Spitter scored! Welcome to Wrexham! It's one of the classic Carabao Cup ties. It's down by Socek, poked in by Bowen. It's 1-0 West Ham United. Crossed in by Bishop. It's 2-0 to Pompey.
The Carabao Cup delivering yet again on talkSPORT.
Colchester won, and he's lashed it into the back of the...
Is Azaz! Oh! Finn Azaz for Southampton! What a breathless, fantastic advert for Carabao Cup football. Evans! Mansfield Town back on level terms. Bamford again! Second goal for Patrick Bamford. Second goal for Sheffield United. All the drama of the Carabao Cup live on talkSPORT.
Come on then, the wait is nearly over. Live football is back on talkSPORT tomorrow. We're going to bring you the first domestic cup commentary of the season, Borough against Wrexham in the Carabao Cup, and then 7 live EFL Championship matches across the opening weekend, including a big one, Burnley against West Ham. You know, the viewing figures of the Championship are through the roof. First weekend of the season. We're also going to take you to Cardiff for Arsenal against Manchester City in the Community Shield, and then it's the return of the big one, the Premier League, with exclusive national radio coverage of the first 2 games of the new season. It all starts with Arsenal against Cov before Hull host Manchester United. The 2026-27 football season coming to you from tomorrow on talkSPORT. Andy, I know we've had a World Cup, and I know it was the biggest World Cup we've had in history, but still feels good. The feeling never changes to have the season back.
Yeah, when the season starts to get underway, it's always exciting. There's that kind of lull post World Cup for a couple of weeks. Then all of a sudden you get a bit of interest with your club doing a bit of business and selling a few comings and goings. Plenty to talk about in that respect. And then the Championship has centre stage, doesn't it? It's a week before the Premier League season starts. The EFL returns, and the smaller teams get a chance to. As I say, to grab all the headlines. So I think the Championship this year looks another really, really good league. And there's obviously, you know, with the teams that went down last season, all in there as well. It's so difficult on the face of it to pick a winner out there. You would imagine those teams, particularly West Ham. Yeah. You would imagine that they should bounce straight back, but you never know. You never know in that league.
In the build-up, as we look forward to the return of the EFL, Adi Oladipo and Ashley Williams were joined on the show yesterday by Blackburn boss Tony Mowbray, live from the EFL launch event. And he said that everybody at the clubs believe that they can get promoted.
Just actually this morning, I was up at 4 o'clock this morning from Zurich. I've been meeting the owners in Switzerland just yesterday and trying to appeal about, you know, needing a little bit of help and financial help to put Blackburn back where we need to be, more competitive in the Championship and give ourselves a chance. The playoffs go down to 8th this season, and so can we sneak in? We look at what Hull City did last year from a 21st position finish only 2 years ago to find themselves in the Premier League, and so it can be done. You recruit well, you coach well, you have a team, like I said, who run through brick walls for you, then you can achieve in the Championship, even though it looks a really, really tough league this season.
The legend that is Tony Mowbray speaking to the boys on Drive yesterday. We're going to pick up on his comments about the playoffs in a second. So just a reminder about how they're going to work next season in the Championship. So Championship teams that finish in 3rd and 4th place will go straight into the playoff semi-final, which will be one leg. A one-legged quarter-final will be played with 5th at home to 8th and 6th at home to 7th. Then the playoff semi-finals still be played over 2 legs, and the final will still be held at Wembley at the end of May. So we still got that traditional 2-legged semi-final, but then there's the extra 1-legged quarter-final before. Tony Mowbray says that he's a fan of it. Of course he would be. Gives his side that extra chance to creep into the playoffs. Yep. Do you agree with it?
I can understand why Tony says what he has, because for those kind of mid-table Championship teams, it's just that extra little bit of incentive, that bit of a chance that they can be involved in it. The one thing for me, Max, how many teams, and of course it could happen, I'm not expecting it to, a team finishing 8th ended up playing Premier League
What
football.
about the old cliche that the informed team, you know, often there's an informed team that creeps into the playoffs.
Norwich were incredible last season, very nearly got themselves involved in the playoffs, just missed out. You know, a few more games they would have done so. Philippe Clement did an amazing job, and they went on a brilliant run and just come up a little bit short. So, look, I get it. For those, there are other teams there that will now feel that they can potentially if they have a good second half to the season, get involved in all of that. I am a little bit of a traditionalist in the way that I love the playoffs as they are. I like them as they are. It kind of makes sense. We're now accustomed to it. You know, the changes in the Champions League, when we've gone into this kind of new format of Champions League football now, there are a lot of people going, "Oh, don't touch it, don't touch it." I like it.
Yeah,
I do like it.
well.
I think it's gone well, and I think that it's made it a little bit more interesting. Who knows? This may well pan out the same way with the playoffs in the Championship, but I kind of feel very at home with the playoffs as they were, always really exciting, and teams finishing sixth even getting promoted is a kind of a bit of a weird one. You feel the team that finishes third just outside the top two,
and often there's a massive points gap between those teams. But look, that's the playoffs, that's the system. I'm always a bit of a traditionalist. I don't necessarily like the change, but what you can say is that towards the end of the season, with those 2 extra places, what it is going to do, it's going to add more meaning to some of these games. And there'll be teams where in March they're nowhere near it, but then they've got a chance come the final day.
True. No, and that can be very exciting. I think the Championship is always a brilliant watch and listen. In our respect, they're always such good games. It remains to be seen whether that's going to be a success or not. Let's see. It sounded when you was explaining it a little bit complicated, if you like, about what games are going to be 2 legs and what are just one-offs. So we'll see. Will it all come out in a wash? But certainly it gives hope to other teams now at the start of this campaign.
Well, look, we're going to be taking your calls now. The dust has settled. EFL fans, Championship fans, are you in favour of the 6 teams in the playoffs? We're taking your call next. 03717 223344. It's not just about the Premier League here on talkSPORT. This is your chance. EFL fans, Championship fans, get in touch. All that coming up next, including a croissant or a Magnum wrapped in a croissant, live on talkSPORT.
I anticipate Arsenal to absolutely go again and just be as good as they've been this season. The key element for me on the title this year is Rodri. If Rodri's a Manchester City player throughout the whole course of the season, Manchester City will win the league.
That's a shouting off, that isn't it?
Do you disagree? If Manchester City lose Rodri and he goes to Real Madrid, they will not win the league.
I know what you're saying, but I look at it as well because Anderson's coming, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
he's not Rodri.
I know he's not Rodri.
But he'll benefit from playing alongside him.
Yeah, that would happen.
But if you leave him on his own in there, I think you've got carnage.
I do know what you're saying, but I think there's more of a factor that Maresca might not be up for it either. You don't know yet.
I think he's up for it.
You reckon he's up for it?
I think he's up for it.
We'll see.
He knows that club. He's been at that club. He understands how that club
you're
works.
You're talking like a real Manchester City supporter.
He went to Chelsea. He did.
Are you Blackburn? You're a Blackburn fan, yeah?
Yeah, hold on a minute. We'll talk about their dismal summer in a minute.
What about the other teams?
Why are you doing this? Why are you deflecting?
Well, I'm just trying to say.
All I was doing was talking about the Premier League title race. That's all I was saying. And I was just saying that the big impact, the key piece of information for me is Rodri being a Man City player throughout the whole course of the season. And if he is, Manchester City will win the league.
Cool, but that's a shout.
Do you not think so?
So where was he last season?
Getting back from his ACL, mate. Do you not think so?
No, listen, mate.
So you're tipping Arsenal. You think so? You believe in what I said at the start of the show, that you believe that we're entering a dynasty time.
Yeah, but I wouldn't hang my hat on it.
Drive on talkSPORT, me, Max Scott, Andy Townsend alongside, all in partnership with Giacomo, style and brands for every man. Still to come, we're going to hear your questions in WhatsApp, Andy Townsend. But just quickly, Gianni Infantino will remain FIFA president for now, but he has apologised for errors made in trying to sell off stakes in the World Cup. Get him in a bin. Real Madrid have announced the signing of RB Leipzig winger Yan Diomande for around £120 million. And we've just been discussing the Championship playoff expansion. And before we take your calls on that, 03717 223344, pick up the phone, you'll get through on the phone lines. Before we do that, Andy came in on the show, start of the show, he was buzzing about this viral trend that's come across his algorithm.
Yes.
It's a Magnum stuffed croissant. We've been teasing it all show. Frank in Tonbridge got in touch saying, all this talk about it, surely the Magnum is just a sloppy melted mess by now. And I'm looking at it in the bag here.
And it probably is.
It probably is. We've left it too long, but we're going to try it.
Going to give it a go.
I'll try it as well, but I'm going to give it to you, Andy. I'll get it in the bag.
Okay.
Excuse fingers.
Thank you, pal. Right, let's give this a whirl. So I saw this morning on the train on the way down here that people are cutting the top of a croissant off, stuffing a Magnum in the middle of it and saying it's sensational, right? Glasses are definitely coming off for this.
But show the cameras as well what it looks like when it comes out.
There you go. So you can see that there. Right, there's the...
Looks a bit suspect to me.
It does look a little bit suspect, particularly this pointed end, but I'm going to give it a go and see how we get on.
Bit of ASMR there. Okay, most of the Magnum has ended up on the table, on the desk, but that's fine.
That shouldn't work.
Didn't work.
But it does.
Does it?
You've got to have a bite.
Is it delicious?
It's nice. I've got to tell you, it's very good. And it's unfortunately got a little bit. Have a go at that. I don't know who ever thought that.
That is unbelievable.
It's good, isn't it? It's quite good. I quite like that. I mean, listen, that's the last one I'll ever have. There's no way I'm going to start stuffing my croissants with Magnums. But as a one-off, that ain't bad. I've got to tell you.
That's unbelievable.
Whoever thought of that, well done. Fair play to you.
If I wasn't hosting a radio show on talkSPORT and speaking my mouth full, I'd finish that.
Yeah, you'd finish it. You would. You're right. Absolutely.
And I'm never really a massive croissant fan, you know.
It's got no right to even be in the same room. Never mind going together, but it works.
Was there chocolate in that croissant, or was that just the ice cream? It was a chocolate croissant. Wow, yeah. That is unbelievable.
Nice, isn't it? Not bad.
I was feeling a little bit. I was feeling a bit suspect about that. I didn't expect it.
Bit dubious. And do you know what? I've tried that, and we just said I'd never had until this summer in Dallas an iced coffee. Right?
Funny you say that, you know, because this summer my missus loves iced coffee. She gets them all the time. The thought of it, because you know when you have coffee, you leave half of it on the table, and then you remember, and you have a sip, and it's cold by then, and it's rank.
Yeah.
But it changed my life.
Well, I tried one for the first time, Max. I went in, and because it was 40 degrees nigh on in Dallas, right, every day, relentless, boiling hot. And each time I go and grab a coffee, having a walk around, someone said, went in the coffee shop one day, and this lady said to me, she said, would you like an ice one? I said, no, it's got to be hot. It's got to be hot. She said, well, look, try an ice one. If you don't like it, you haven't got to pay for it.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I had it, and it was lovely. But I don't think I'll get one here. I think it'd always be a hot one here.
Well, and you say it's 40 degrees in Dallas. It has been absolutely baking while you've been away. And honestly, I can't stop drinking them now. It's got unbelievable. But look, well, that's enough of that.
That's enough of that.
What an unbelievable suggestion. I'm gutted. I'm looking at that thinking I just want it. But I can't do it. Maybe we should go to an early break.
Starting to look a bit sorry for itself now, because it is melting, and it doesn't look potentially the most appetizing. But I tell you what, it weren't bad. It was quite nice. That it actually was decent. So whoever thought of it, done well there.
Fair play. Hey, that algorithm. Thanks for the algorithm. Now look, domestic English football is of course returning tonight, Andy. Bristol City take on Walsall in the League Cup. I think we're going to hear from the Moose a little bit later on. But you're a two-time winner of the League Cup. What do you make about the season starting with the League Cup?
Yeah, look, listen, it's the one trophy that everyone kind of turns their nose up at a little bit, and then all of a sudden, once we then get towards the quarterfinals or even maybe the semi-finals, all of a sudden then everyone gets revved up about it and excited. So maybe giving it again centre stage this evening over the next couple of nights, good idea. Why not? I'm not against that in any way, shape or form.
Well, you say, but you're right. People care about it less, but you tell that to Newcastle fans a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
What that meant to them. But my worry, though, is always, I know this sounds ridiculous to say, but sometimes I just think there's too much football. Sometimes I think the players are just absolutely knackered. You know, look at, for example, a Chelsea player that played the season a couple of seasons ago, won the Club World Cup, went all the way, played all the season for Chelsea. Then, you know, Marc Cucurella, for example, he's gone and won the World Cup. Surely he's knackered, Andy. Surely that has like a cumulative effect on players, the amount of football.
Yeah, it does. It does, but then that's up to the clubs to manage those guys. The hardest ones, the hardest hit, I think, in that respect, Max, are when players have a transfer directly after or during a World Cup. Then you feel obliged. You want to get back in and amongst your new teammates and start picking up all the info that you need to about your new club and the way they play and the new manager, the new coach, bedding yourself in as early as you can. So, whereas sometimes, you know, in my time, I'm trying to think, that happened to me after the 1990 World Cup. I joined Chelsea. So again, I don't remember having an extra amount of time off. I think
just went straight into it.
Went straight into it. We used to go down to Aberystwyth on a pre-season tour back in the day, running along that beach down there, which never ends, by the way. When you start, you can see the finish, and it just don't get any closer. You know, it's one of them. But yeah. So
do you ever get jealous when you see the pre-season tours now? You know, like Miami,
the world,
Australia, Portugal,
Scotland. It used to be Scotland. We used to go up to Scotland and play a few games, or basically you'd play them. You'd start off with a non-league game and on their ground, all away from home, of course. Then you play some League 2, League 1 teams. You might go up to, as I said, north of the border, play a few matches up there, and then you're on your way back. But now they're hiked around the globe and back, aren't they, pre-season? So, but for those players that have had a move during the World Cup or just after, so Cucurella, Morgan Rogers, etc., those boys probably feel obliged to, as much as they want to have some time off. I think that it's nice to familiarise yourself with the way your new club are thinking and starting to get to grips with it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Look, a reminder, football is back. We're going to give you updates from the EFL Cup this evening. The Moose is going to be joining us, but a reminder, of course, tomorrow, Friday, 7th of August, Middlesbrough against Wrexham in the Carabao Cup first round, and then we've got a belter of a weekend as the Championship, the EFL, is back. Looking forward to that. West Ham and Portsmouth as well is going to be live over on talkSPORT 2. Football's back, happy days, but still to come, we've got a little bit of no Googling. So we want to know which club has secured promotion to the top tier via the playoffs the most times. We've been talking about this extended playoffs, 8 teams. We're not sure what we think about it, but we think there's legs in it. But who's going to be the team and what has been the team to secure promotion to the top flight via the playoffs the most times? We'll get your answers after the break, and of course we're taking your calls now the dust settles. If you're a fan of the 6 teams in the playoffs, these new playoff plans in the Championship, give us a call 03717 223344.
Look at Real Madrid. Go and look at this is the point that I think Gabby was making this morning. I know that he was making it regarding trophies and what have you, but look at the brand value.
180 million.
There you go. Right, that's how big that football club is.
Right, that's a lot.
That's how big that is as a worldwide entity. 180 million, and you're talking about him coming to a club that has 32 million followers on Instagram. Again, these are very basic metrics. Very basic metrics. But Vinicius Junior is in a completely different stratosphere. All this talk about him coming to Arsenal throughout the whole course of the summer has just been manipulation from an agent trying to get the dude a few more quid. That's what it is. He was never in a million years going to be an Arsenal player this summer. That's what it is. It's just manipulating the market. Like, see if I can get some more money for my guy. Yeah. Why would he come to Arsenal?
I said that was the agent talk. Just using Arsenal as a
Leverage.
A tool.
Yeah. Arsenal are interested. Oh, right, wicked. Brilliant. Arsenal, champions of England. Right, well, let's use them.
Yeah.
Let's use them. Go back to the
They
table
need
with
a
the Real
left-sided
Madrid lads.
forward.
Yeah, he's coming out of contract. You know what I mean? He needs a few more zeros on this contract.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to sign Yandy Mande. Let's put some pressure on you. Now, don't worry about that. Vinny Jr. ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Is it?
Come on. You can't leave. I just don't see leaving Real Madrid as a. Unless you don't leave Real Madrid unless Real Madrid leaves you.
That's it.
That's it, mate.
Unless you come to the end of your time on your way, son.
Can't have a supermodel girlfriend and you leaving your supermodel girlfriend.
She leaves you
for the dinner lady. Like, you know what I mean?
The dinner lady. You can't call Arsenal a dinner lady.
Oh, it's love, innit? It's love.
Boxing. It's a sport that makes multi-millionaires out of the world's best fighters, but it's not as flush with cash as you'd think. We all see how much the likes of Tyson Fury or Canelo Alvarez make every fight, but that's not the case for those just starting out, or those who aren't even at that level. For example, if you've just turned pro and don't have a promoter, you have to sell your own tickets, cover the cost of the venue yourself, and pay the tax man at the end of it. You might not even break even, but if you do, you're looking at 5 to 10 grand max. A mid-tier fighter might make more like 10 to 50 grand, but you still have to give up half of that in costs. So unless you're fighting for a world title, it's tough to make money. One potential way of doing it, though, is being a journeyman. Here's former European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver explaining how that could work.
They want to fight every week, and they can be going in against the prospects, so they can demand good money, and they might be demanding like 5 grand, 10 grand for a 6-rounder or something because they're going in with a prospect. He gets through that, the journeyman gets through that fight, and he can fight again next week.
I mean, even so, it's not much, and you're getting punched in the face for a job. It's only really at the top level, i.e. fighting for titles, where you're earning up to 6 figures and can afford a diamond chain or that Ferrari. So boxing isn't a sport that allows you to retire at 40 and live a life of luxury. Much like a lot of other sports and jobs in general, it takes an awful lot of luck quite early in your career to really make it worth your while.
listen to Drive on talkSPORT. It's me, Max Scott, Andy Townsend. Just under half an hour to go for Transfer Insiders kicks off. And a few moments ago, we brought you the last no Googling of the evening. We asked you which club has secured promotion to the top tier via the playoffs the most times.
Hull City.
It's not a bad shout, to be fair, but it's not.
Go on.
It's Crystal Palace.
Is it Palace?
4 times. Blackburn in 89, Sheffield United in 97, West Ham in 04, and then they beat Watford in 2013. Fair play. But look, following us from 7, Angelina Kelly hosts the Transfer Insiders this evening. She's got Luke Moore alongside her. And I imagine they're going to be talking about the latest breaking news. talkSPORT understands that finally the saga is over. Vinicius Jr. has agreed a new deal at Real Madrid, keeping at the club for 6 more years.
So he's getting everyone at it.
Yeah. He had Arsenal on strings.
Yeah, them on toast, just to get that new deal at Madrid.
Yeah, Arsenal just used as leverage. You know, the bridesmaids in this one again. And you see they got beat by Betis last night.
Did they? But again, Max, don't take too much what's happening out there right now with a lot of these games all around the world. They're not. A lot of the teams aren't at their strongest and at their best. But that's interesting about Vinicius Jr. I would love to have seen him in the Premier League. I think we all would.
Yeah.
Secretly, everyone would want to see a player like him and seeing how he fares here. Because often it's regarded as the ultimate test for any top player, wherever they are in the world. You know, we never got to see Messi playing here. But
do they need
Vinicius
to go in
Jr.
for another signing then?
Say again?
Do they've got Bruno in. They've got this Greek winger. But, I mean, a young lad who's come from Club Bruges. Do they still need another signing to really kick on? Everyone's talking about, Arteta's going to take the handbrake off and they're going to play a new start. I just don't see it.
No, what I would say is when you get wind of someone like Vinicius Jr. may be available and you are the champions and you are still going for Champions League glory, etc., I think you've got to be interested. I think as a big club, you've got to be interested. And look, Madueke, Martinelli, Trossard's gone, obviously, but Bukayo Saka, they got some very good players in those areas. But Vinicius Jr. one side, Bukayo Saka on the other side, I think that would have been pretty serious stuff.
Yeah.
But not to be. He's going to be in the white of Real Madrid. And look, I think Real Madrid is the greatest football club on the planet. I do. I think it's the one everyone would want to play for. And if you're there and you're still a regular and they convince you that your future's there, why would you want to go?
Yeah, that's it. Well, we'll see what happens with Arsenal in the transfer window. Of course, if you want to keep all up to date on that, head to talksport.com. The transfer notebook will bring you all the very latest news. But now it's time for some of this.
What's up, Andy?
What's up? What's up, Andy? What's
Do people really greet each other like that, mate?
Well, they do when it's you, Andy.
No, the young lads now, when they meet each other down the pub, what's up? Giving it all that every 5 minutes.
I'm not young anymore. I'm in 30s. But look, this is What's Up, Andy, where we give you the floor to ask former host of Townsend's Tactics Truck, Andy Townsend, anything your heart desires. All show, we've been asking you to send in some of your voice notes on WhatsApp. Now it's time to hear some of the best ones. We're going to start with this.
What's up, Andy?
Andy, I just wanted to know, how do you reflect on your time as a Chelsea player, mate? And do you wish you stayed a little bit longer? Because I was absolutely gutted when we sold you.
Well, I don't know who that was, Max. I'm not sure whoever that was. But, however, I loved my time at Chelsea, but I absolutely left, I felt, at the right time. I was never going to be around for the Abramovich stuff. That was always going to be way out of my era. So I think I left at the right time and I joined a brilliant club in Aston Villa. So, but I loved it at Chelsea. Great characters, played with some great people. Ken Bates, obviously, sadly passing away just a few weeks ago. He was a real character, Ken. And I mentioned a very quick story, Max, about when I'd been at Chelsea a year and then I re-signed. I Batesy then offered me a new deal after year one. That always tells you perhaps didn't get you shouldn't have been. We shouldn't have signed the deal that you originally did, but I did. And anyway, after my first year, he said to me, "We're going to an Italian restaurant at the bottom of King's Road." So he took me to this Italian, but we went in his Bentley. He had a Bentley, right? And anyway, pulled up right outside this restaurant, like double yellows, bus stops everywhere. You can't park there.
Yeah.
Can't park there. And he said to this young boy, Bates, he said, here, mate, he said, keep your eye on that car. There's 50 quid for you when we come back out. We'll only be an hour. He said, if anyone pulls up and wants to put a ticket on it, come and get me. So, of course, we came out. We actually gave the boy the money. And when we came out of the restaurant after the lunch, he had a ticket on the car, Batesy, and the kid had cleared off, you know what I mean, with the money, which was typical. But I really enjoyed playing for Chelsea. I met some great lads and played with some very good people. I love the club. It's a team I supported as a young boy. But no, I wish I stayed long enough. I got out at the right time.
Fair play. Good question, that one. Let's hear another one.
What's that? West Ham's third shirt has been released today, and for me, it's horrific. It looks like a water painting gone wrong. What I want to know from you is, what do you think is the worst football shirt ever released, and what is the worst football shirt you've ever worn as a player? Love the show, guys.
Okay, worst. I tell you, there was a brown one, Max. I don't know who it was. Was it a Coventry away kit? I'm not even sure if it might have been Cov had a brown.
Spurs had a brown one not long ago. I'm pretty sure Spurs.
I don't know, the Spurs one. Spurs kits, there's always, even whatever the colour is, there's always a little bit of kind of style about it. But back in my day, there were some horrors. There were some absolute shockers. And there was one that I'm pretty sure it was brown. Someone out there will tell us which team it was. In terms of the ones that I wore, let me think. Villa had, with the old Muller Rice, we had that the sponsor on the shirt. Villa had that black and dark green one with a stripe in it, which was never the best.
Pretty rank.
Which was never ever the best. No, I didn't particularly like that one. Villa's proper colours are great. I love some of the away kits they've had over the years. White, claret and white was always a really lovely third kit for Villa back in my time. But that green and black one was a weird one.
Fair play. What I remember, that Leeds had an away, or it might have been a third kit a couple of years ago when they were in the Premier League. I was still in it now, but it was like a tie-dye. That was a shocker, but the Leeds fans loved it. Whenever I went up to Leeds, everyone was wearing it.
And someone's had a salmon pink one, haven't they, recently? There has been one, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not.
Unless I'm going completely nuts. But I'm sure there's like a salmony pink one team have had recently, which not the best either.
Well, I like that one from the West Ham. I mean, I've just got the third kit up. It's got bubbles on it. Obviously,
that's
forever
cool.
flame bubbles.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about it, to be honest, Andy.
Sure.
I don't mind the colour, but the bubbles look a bit daft.
They're all a bit tight-fitting nowadays, shirts as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I know.
Are the ones that they sell in the club shop for the fans, are they? They've obviously got a bit of give in them.
But these days you can buy like different grades. Like you can buy the cheapo one for and it's not cheap. It's 70 quid. But then you can buy the pro one that the players wear, and that one's like wearing tights on your chest.
Yeah,
No, good question. That right. Time for another one.
What's up, Andy? Hello, mate. I've got a question for you about your dog, Big Norm. I always see him all over your Instagram feed. I absolutely love him. I've got a question for you which relates to bedtime. I know a lot of people in my family, some friends of mine, which allow their dogs to sleep in bed with them. Does your big dog share your bed with you? Cheers, mate.
Good question, and a very straightforward answer. Absolutely not. He never has, and he never will. One is
he's 75 kegs.
Yeah, he's a big unit, and so he actually wouldn't be able to jump up on the bed. Most dogs, you see him go jumping up. Norm couldn't do that. There's no chance he could even get in there.
Norm's heavier than producer Joe.
Well, there you go, and he's slightly better looking.
Would you have Joey
as well? But he's listen. No way. I'm not one of those that entertains the dogs all in the bed and all that. I don't. No, not for me, Clive. No, I don't think so.
I'm the same. Mine's only a puppy, but he's not coming in my bed because I'm 6'7" and 100 kilograms, and I ain't got space.
Exactly
for anyone.
But I do love him. Don't get me wrong. I do love Big Norm, and but I'm afraid no, he can't come in there. Do you know what? As well, he's not. He's a very loving dog. But if you cuddle my dog, if you sort of come here, give us a cut, he'll soon wriggle out of that. He don't like.
He wants his space.
He wants his space.
He's an independent man.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair play to him. Right, time for another one.
What's up, Andy? Just see the news about EA Sports selling FIFA to the Saudis for however many billions. Was just wondering, what was it like when you worked on the game, doing the commentary all those years ago? Was it fun? Anyway, this is Michael from Norwich. Cheers, Andy.
Michael, thank you for that. So doing those FIFA games, right? It's very difficult. Very difficult for.
How do they do? Are you just doing a load of sentences?
So you are in a studio booth and you've got various scripts. Commentator. I did many with Clive Tilsley over the years. In fact, we did one for this World Cup with Netflix, with the World Cup just gone. But it's very difficult and very repetitive, Max. And in the old days, you'd be spending a fortnight 9 to 5 in a studio, and you are just coming out with 100 ways to say that was a great cross and it was a brilliant header from the striker. Oh, he's hit the bar, right? Come up with 20
But
of
is
them.
that all scripted for you, or do you need to come up with?
Well, they sort of set the different like the different subjects, and then you just have to come out with 20 different versions.
You're not watching it happen. You just say it.
Oh no, you're just saying it. You just got a bit of crowd noise in your ear, and then you're just sat in a tiny booth somewhere in Soho in a studio, and you're sat there, and you just got to keep going one after the other, one after the other. And of course, I can't say a player. So it's always he was really unlucky there. Oh, what a great shot that was. That was a brilliant effort from him. Right? It's like that sort of stuff. Yeah. Because I don't know what players the kids at home are picking. So you have to be generic with it, and you have to come up with all these different, and it's I mean, it's a good earner, but it's hard work.
I didn't want to ask, but I'm glad you said it. I imagine so. And fair play for doing 9 to 5 for 2 weeks, 5 days a week in a stuffy little studio in Soho. Good stuff. Right, time for another one.
What's that? Andy. Hi, Andy. It's Neil from Herne Bay in Kent. Having lived 32 years in Welling in Kent, do you remember your days when you played for Welling United? See ya.
Of course I do. Thank you very much for that. I remember very well. My best man I used to play at Welling United with, who now lives around the corner from him. We still play golf a lot, and I still see some of my ex-colleagues from the Welling United days. Don't forget, that's 46 years ago. That is a rather long time ago. Yeah, I was playing for Welling United, but they're great days. Non-league football. Listen, anyone who has the pleasure, the privilege of playing non-league football, where it's serious, but you still have a lot of laughs and a lot of messing about, and you've all got your jobs you go back to on a Monday morning. But great days. No, they were, and I think sometimes it's not a bad way for people to enter the big game, the pro game, is by playing non-league football, because then all of a sudden you know what it's like on the other side of the fence, which makes you all the more determined to
feels like that happens less and less
to make a go of it. Too many of the kids nowadays, they want everything without doing nothing. And I think it wouldn't do a lot of them any harm to come through that way, and they might hang around at the top for a little bit longer.
Do you know how many games you played for Welling United?
I would suggest, I was there 16, left about 19. I would probably 100 and... would it be 120 or something, Max?
Well, according to Wikipedia, 105.
There you go, something like that.
It says goals not available, so you're free.
I scored
free
a few for them. I did score a few for Welling, but I was a tricky left winger in those days. Let me tell you. It was great fun. Great fun. Non-league football is brilliant. It really is, and I would thoroughly recommend it to anybody. Maybe coming out of league football this summer, perhaps not quite happened for them so far. Doesn't matter. Step down a little bit, enjoy yourself, play your non-league stuff, get a job, get on with life, and you might find someone else coming back in for you.
Great advice, and I'd say go and watch it as well. I moved to Peckham not long ago. Go and watch Dulwich Hamlet. Great day out, unbelievable set of fans, and much cheaper than going to watch Premier League football. But speaking of football, of course, club football is back tonight as Bristol City host Walsall in the first round of the Carabao Cup. The team news is in for that one, and Ian Abrahams has all the details.
Good evening from Bristol. 2 new managers in Michael Skubala at Bristol City and Lee Grant at Walsall, and plenty of new signings. Skubala signed 7 in all, some debuts tonight. Sam Tickle, signed from Wigan, starts in goal, and Lauren Tolai, who was the top scorer in League One last season with Plymouth Argyle, he gets his debut up front. Dan Ballard, who was signed yesterday, he is on the bench. Walsall has signed 11 players so far, and I'm told there are even more to come. 7 debutants tonight. Jed Ward against his former club. Spranger, Smith, Moore, Shura and Leek are the other 6. Place in the second round of the League Cup up for grabs at Ashton Gate, where it's Bristol City against Walsall.
Great to hear the Moose, because you know, if the Moose is on air, live football is back. We've got you covered across talkSPORT tomorrow night as well. Remember, Borough against Wrexham in the Carabao Cup, and then it all kicks off in the Championship. Just one section left of the show. We've got the end of show quiz coming up next on Drive With Me, Max Scott and Andy Townsend.
This is a definition of a big one.
£75 million for a player whose biggest attribute is to fall over on the edge of the box and win himself a free kick.
Gosh,
is good money. And if he wants to go and sit on Arsenal's bench, where he'll not be adored like he was at Newcastle, then he's basically going for the money.
The tune has turned. The tune has turned. All right. So tell me you're not bitter.
Oh, I'm not bitter.
Stop that! He can't be talking like. What is he doing to this on the floor? He's
falling at the edge of the box. Falling at the edge of the box.
Falling at the edge of the box. Now you're bitter, man. Come on, you gotta be. You can't be saying them type of lyrics there on live national radio. He was good for you lot. You know that.
He was good. I tell you what.
Yeah, and if he's got down the motorway, if he's going down the motorway, and he says, you know what, I've got to change your heart. I'm going back. Are you gonna have him back, or are you gonna batter him just for thinking about leaving?
Me personally, I would have him back. I don't want him to go, but I think it's good. I think it's good money for a player who's limited.
Oh God!
It is good money.
Why do you have to have the dig though? Don't stop having the dig.
And the key thing is now, mate, reinvesting it into the play staff, isn't it? I mean, the money that you've pulled in with Tonali and Wood, and obviously now this week Guimaraes, you've got to reinvest it into the lads, haven't you?
Yeah. And when we finish above Arsenal, Spurs, and Liverpool at the end of the season, and look down on all of them players who've left, right? talkSPORT will need to find something else to talk about, won't they?
6:53 drive on talkSPORT. Me, Max Scott, Andy Townsend in partnership with Giacomo. Get fresh looks and great brands from Giacomo. Following us from 7, Angelina Kelly hosts the Transfer Insiders. This evening she's got Luke Moore alongside her. I'm sure they'll be reacting to the Vinny Jr. news. He's staying at Madrid. Sorry, Arsenal fans, it were never happening. Get used to it. But right now, it's time for some of this.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains.
It's none other than Bill Dog.
Evening, lads.
How are you, mate?
Evening, Billy. Great show.
Thank you, mate. It's been a good crack. Now, it's obviously my debut on Drive, so I don't really know the rules.
Yeah, all right, I'll explain. So,
Oh,
yeah, that's the first thing. The end of show quiz, lads. I've got a list for you. You were discussing food earlier with the Magnum croissant. Looked quite nice.
By the way.
So I've got a little list. A roast dinner is the most popular British dish.
Correct.
According to a YouGov poll. Can you name the next 10 things on that list? So the next 10 most popular British dishes in Britain.
Oh, you say?
And I think have we got to go sort of rat-a-tat one up?
You're working together. You can
rat-a-tat?
Yeah,
What
well,
phrase?
you know what I mean.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
You can confer. You've got three or so minutes on this.
I mean, we say British food, but does that include Chinese takeaway?
No, I'd say these are all British.
Fish and chips.
Yeah, number 1 on the list after roast dinner.
Gotta be it.
Good start.
Fish and chips.
There you go.
Bangers and mash.
Yes, number 4 on the list.
And by the way, I do love sausage and mash. Do you?
Yeah, unbelievable. And gravy.
Oh, of course, and gravy. Peas or?
Yeah, peas.
Peas, yeah, you got to have some peas.
And also with a cup of Bovril.
Now you've gone too far, mate. Can't have the Bovril. Right, what else? So we got fish and chips, sausage and mash.
Pie and mash.
Oh, yeah.
Like steak and ale pie.
Could be there.
There was no pie and mash on the list.
How about
Believe it
here's
or
a
not.
strange one? Did you say it had to be a British dish?
Go on, what are you thinking?
Well, because we all like Italian, don't we? I would have right, but obviously it's not.
No, there's no Italian.
in
There's
it.
no Italian on the list now.
It's got to be a
All right,
British.
full English breakfast.
Yeah, number 3 on the list.
Of course it is. Well done, Max.
Well done.
Have we got the top 4?
No, you still need number 2.
Okay.
Which is Rogue, by the way, number 2.
Is it?
I look forward to my croissants.
What about haggis?
No. Well, it could be.
Small sample size, maybe. No, it's not on the list.
Steak and chips?
Yes.
Yeah, steak.
6th on the list.
Good shout.
I wouldn't stick exclusively to dinner. That would be my...
Okay.
Another bacon sandwich?
Yeah, bacon sausage sandwich.
Yeah.
Number 8.
Bacon and egg, sausage and egg. Is it some variations there?
I've just given you all
How many
all
do we
sandwiches.
need, Billy, now?
You still need 5 more.
5 more. We've only got
5
1
more
minute.
of them.
I'd say there's a breakfast.
Oh, what about chips and curry sauce?
Not on the lip.
Porridge.
Not a full meal. No, porridge didn't make it either.
Did it not?
Got about a minute. Still need number 2.
Oh, what about vindaloo?
I'm going to give you another curry. Chicken tikka masala made it. Number 10.
But that's... Oh, well, is it British? Is it not?
I mean...
Well,
Sounds
I
like
googled it. Apparently, we invented it, but I'm not sure.
Okay, there we go.
Not sure.
No idea. Don't eat it.
There's another sausage-based...
Is there? Toad in the hole.
yeah.
Oh, great
7th
shout.
on the list.
Yeah.
Cumberland sausage song. Cumberland sausage.
Cumberland, of course.
Number 2 you might have, if you're not feeling too well, you might have this as a...
Lemsip.
No.
A popular...
If you're not feeling well. Big Mac meal.
No.
Greg's.
No.
Here's a clue.
Not hungover, like if you're actually ill.
Right,
Okay.
you don't know what I do.
What, you eat this
More,
when you...
you could actually drink it as well.
You can drink tomato soup.
Yeah, with bread.
tomato
Number 2,
Yeah,
apparently.
bread and butter. Look, Bill, loved that quiz.
Yeah,
Pleasure to do that with you as well.
beans on toast and cottage pie.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
course,
you need.
Oh, yes.
Oh, cottage and shepherd's pie.
I actually had beans on toast a couple of days ago. It was
Andy,
sensational.
it's been an absolute belter, mate.
Good to see you, Max.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And enjoy tomorrow as well. I know you're back in the building tomorrow. You're a busy boy.
I am. I'll be on tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Darren McAnthony. Looking forward to that one. But up next, it's a Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT.
Hussein, good morning.
Good morning, Shaban. Oh, Akbar Lahore. You're making me boil right now. I can't stand you, mate.
Oh.
You know, what have you won? What have you actually won, Gabi? You've not won nothing. All
Yeah.
you keep doing is just criticize Arsenal. What have you actually won?
Nothing, mate.
You know, it's actually funny that I used to like you as a striker, but now I can't even. I don't know what I used to see in you because you've won absolutely nothing. And Arsenal are gonna win
But
stuff.
you
They're gonna
used to
win.
like
We've
me, you
just won
said.
the Premier League. Yeah, I used to, but now.
What did
I
you
wish I
like
didn't.
about me, though,
I
from
wish I
before?
didn't. Now he's a big gob. Sorry to say that. He's just criticizing Arsenal, but you just don't see how Arsenal are actually making. They're going places right now. We've just won the Premier League. You just even don't